Yeah, nothing is going right today. When I tell y'all I am going through it, I can't believe this thing just did that. Oh boy. Put a one in the chat if you guys can hear me. We gotta do this all over again. And I tell you, I'm going through hell just to bring y'all content. All right, we back. Why is none of this stuff working? Hold on, y'all. When I tell y'all, I go through hell just to bring y'all content. Hell and high water. What's going on, Sin? If you could let everybody know I'm live over here. I don't know if you know what's going on, D Rock. Happy 4th of July weekend. Good to see you, my brother. As always, good to see you. Oh man, the stream just went down. We was up too for almost a good 6 hours. Shout outs to D Rock in the building. Please hit the like button on the way in, y'all. Please support the show once again. If you guys can let everybody know that we're back live, the stream cut off. If the chat room is still open on the last stream, if you guys can let everybody know that we're back live, the stream cut off. Like I said, I be going through hell and high water to bring y'all content. All right, I was letting you guys know to be careful out there and take care of your health this year, especially this weekend, and head over to hempforfitness.com. And definitely, if you self medicate, you know what I'm saying, make sure you do it the right way with natural products, you know. But yes, if you guys could please hit the like button, hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal, support the show. I got to reset the show back up. Let's get back to where we left off. It's Player Talk Radio.
Would lose insurance by 2034 under the Big Beautiful Bill.
It's
Another
cool.
major
It's
change
cool,
is that
Sin.
food stamp or SNAP benefits
What's
will
going
be
on, Chris
reduced.
G?
The
It's
Congressional
cool.
Budget Office estimates around 40 million people may have their SNAP benefits affected by these cuts, including 16 million children. The bill requires states
Thank
to
you,
make up
love.
the difference in the budget cuts. Typically, SNAP is 100% federally funded. There would also be new work requirements for SNAP. SNAP already has some work requirements, but it would require recipients aged 55 to 64 to be working in order to receive benefits, as well as requiring parents with children 14 and over to work. According to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, about 600,000 low-income households would see their SNAP benefits cut by an average of $100 per month.
Hit the like button,
The average
y'all.
household receives about $320 per month currently, so that's a reduction in their food budget by, on average, about a third, at the same time that prices everywhere are skyrocketing. And in the area of education, student loans will be affected. The bill creates caps on how much money students can borrow. It puts a lifetime borrowing limit of about $250,000. It caps parent borrowing through Parent Plus loans at $20,000 per year with a $65,000 lifetime limit. It eliminates Grad Plus loans, caps unsubsidized loans for grad students at $20,500 per year and $100,000 lifetime, though professional degrees like medical and legal degrees get up to $50,000 per year with a $200,000 lifetime cap. For context, a law degree costs probably around $150,000 for the 3 years that you're in school. You also cannot work during your first year. That's like ABA guidelines. And you probably shouldn't work during the second and third years, especially if you want to get ahead. I got a full ride scholarship for my law school and still went $60,000 into debt to cover the cost of living in Boston for 3 years. If I hadn't gotten any financial aid, I would have easily surpassed that $200,000 borrowing cap. Under the bill, many student loan repayment options will be phased out, with just 2 repayment options remaining: the standard repayment plan or the income-based repayment plan, and it would get rid of unemployment and economic hardship deferment. According to The Hill, advocates warn the new plans will raise the monthly payments for most borrowers and removes an important student loan safety net. It will push students and parents into more risky and expensive private student loans, and of course, no one should go more than $250,000 into debt for higher education, but this doesn't really address the underlying issue with our education system. Instead, it just limits who can borrow and therefore who can access higher education in this country. Especially combined with the Trump regime's attacks on funding for higher education, this means that schools will be left to make up the difference in financial aid for lower income students while also receiving less in federal aid unless they bend the knee to Trump. Low-income students will be the ones to be hurt the most. On top of that, the bill increases the amount of tax that private universities have to pay on the income.
I mean, wasn't Biden supposed to get rid of? Y'all never held him accountable for that. Didn't Biden said he was going to get rid of the student loan debt? I like how everybody kind of just conveniently forgot that. Biden was supposed to get rid of the student loan debt
from their endowments. It's currently set at 1.4% tax, and the bill will increase that to 8% for colleges whose endowments exceed $2 million per enrolled student. It is once again an attack on higher ed, especially elite institutions who have the largest endowments. And another major issue in the bill is immigration, the central policy area of the entire Trump regime, and therefore a very big focus of the bill. The bill gives $350 billion for Trump's immigration agenda, including $46 billion for that stupid wall he keeps promising, $45 billion for 100,000 migrant detention facility beds, 10,000 new ICE officers, including a $10,000 signing bonus. It would create a $10 billion fund that would give grants to reward states that help federal immigration officials. It also provides $25 billion.
D-Mac said he did and ran on it. That's true. I said D-Mac. God damn it. My bad, D-Rock. Hold on. I'm looking at something else. Hold on. Shout outs to everybody over on Rumble. Hold on. Let me switch over to YouTube. D-Rock said he did and ran on it. Bro. D-Rock. This man. They don't listen. I like, and I know I'm not the only one. And you've been here the whole time too. Shout outs to D-Rock then. Dropping the huge $5 on the Cash App. Thank you, bro. Shout outs to D-Rock then. Hold on real quick. Hold on. I got you, bro. Hold on. I got you. Hold on.
More. Wendy?
Thanks, Chuck. We're standing here in front of the Olympic Liquor Store in Queens where scores of African Americans have been lined up for hours. We spoke to a few of them
I got too
earlier.
much tabs open.
Ladies, may we get a word?
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. With your broke ass.
Shout outs to my brother D-Rock Dan in the building as always. Dropping a huge 5 on the Cash App. This is the thing. He promised it and skedaddled. He did promise it and ran on it. He absolutely D-Rock said he did and ran on it. He did promise it and ran on it. Yeah, my bad, Chris G. I was over on Rumble. I had to switch back over to Rumble And I had to let everybody over on Rumble know that we're back live here. My bad. Shout outs to D Rock Den in the building. Yeah, the live cut off. So my bad. Everybody's coming back in. My bad. The live cut off. But yeah, shout outs to D Rock. Biden said that he was going to do this whole student loan forgiveness thing. And just like D Rock then said, he ran on it. Skedaddled. He got the hell out of a Dodge. He absolutely ran on it. So for what it's worth, y'all, it is what it is. You said exactly. Biden didn't support HBCU. I don't think any of them dudes support HBCUs, to tell you the truth. The funny part is that their children is supposed to be going to HBCUs. The white man's children that didn't get a chance to have a family with a white woman. That's where their kids go. They're favoring South Africans over those kids though. All right, let me not say too much. Let me not say too much, y'all. D Rock said he did and ran on it. Oh man. I gotta get that clip with Biden falling upstairs. I ain't gonna lie, you ain't never lived life unless you fell up a flight of steps, man. But this woman right here seems like she's a leftist, and she doesn't like Donald Trump. She kind of got mad at that big stupid wall he was supposed to build. So 350 billion for immigration, 4 billion, 46 billion for the wall, 45 billion for ICE. We're gonna get to that soon. 100,000 migrant detention beds, 10,000 new ICE agents, 10K signing bonus, 10 million for the states that work with ICE, and 25 billion for the Golden Dome. Let me tell y'all something too. A lot of those people that's signing up for ICE to work with ICE, they're Mexicans. You got a lot of Mexicans that work for ICE too now. Believe it or not, in America, and it's not just Mexicans, you have other people that aren't from America, even Indians and all kinds of people, literally saying that certain people in their country got to go back. If their paperwork's not right. And I get it. If you go through hell to make sure your paperwork's right, you might feel some type of way. So don't think it's just like racist people in America and heartless people that believe that they should go back. You got Mexicans that work for ICE that will take theirs back quick as possible. Who you think translating? It's a cold game in America, y'all. I was just watching a documentary on it. Let's go.
for Trump's controversial Golden Dome missile defense system. It will also increase fees that immigrants have to pay to apply for asylum, work authorization, immigration court filings, temporary protected status, and more. And it would limit access to federal benefits so a larger group of immigrants, including refugees, asylum seekers, victims of domestic violence, and sex trafficking, would no longer qualify for federal aid. During the course of these Senate debates on the bill, the Senate threw out the provision in the House bill that would bar states from regulating AI for 10 years. That got thrown out with a vote of 99-1 and is frankly a relief because it would have allowed AI to flourish with no regulation for a decade. Just seeing how far it's come since ChatGPT first crawled its way out of its own primordial sludge a couple years ago, unchecked AI growth for a decade was a scary prospect. The Senate also increased rural hospital subsidies to $50 billion over 5 years, acknowledging that the cuts to Medicaid will hurt providers, especially rural hospitals, because unfortunately for Republicans, a lot of their constituents rely on rural hospitals, so this is something that they can point to and say, see, I'm definitely working for you. Ignore all the other cuts to your benefits. Okay, that's what's in the bill. What does this mean for you, big picture? After-tax income would temporarily increase for all Americans. Looking at 2026 specifically, because projections beyond that are tricky given that some of these things expire in a few years, according to the Tax Policy Center, the bottom 20% would see an increase of about 0.8% to their after-tax income. The second quintile by 1.6%. The middle 40 to 60% of wage earners would see income increases of 2.3%. The 60 to 80% wage earners would see increases of 2.6%. And the top 80 to 100% of wage earners would see after-tax income increases of 3.4%. And this all sounds pretty hunky-dory until you do the math on what those percentages actually mean, and then start to look at all the other benefits that are being cut beyond the tax savings. Because the reality is that Republicans like to wave lower taxes in the air and say, this is what prosperity looks like, but that ignores the increased cost of living for the lowest income earners who lose out on social services and safety nets. And the reality is that a 0.8% increase in after-tax wages for the lowest quintile of income earners means on average they'll be paying about $150 less in taxes for that lowest wage earner in the country. The second lowest quintile would see about $750 in lower taxes. $150 or even $750 does not make up for loss in food stamps, Medicaid coverage, and more that this bill does, especially to the lowest earners. Meanwhile, the top 80 to 100% of wage earners will pay $12,500 less in taxes on average. And they already don't need SNAP or Medicaid or any of the other programs being cut. So at the cost of an additional $3.3 trillion in the national deficit, the lowest 40% of wage earners will get at most an extra maybe $100 per month to cover the costs associated with gutting social programs, on top of the long-term effects that are even more expensive. That means that nearly 60% of the share of the total tax change from this bill will go to the top 20% of income earners in this country, while the lowest quintile will get 1.4% of the share of the tax benefits. In fact, the Yale Budget Lab released a report on the Senate bill taking all of the changes to the taxes and to Medicaid and to SNAP into account to calculate the real costs for individuals as a result of this bill. They found that the bill will actually result in a decline in income for the bottom 20% of about $700 per year, while the top 20% would see an increase in income
Here she goes. She number crunching. Here we go.
$5,700 on average. The top 1% would see an increase in their income of about $30,000 a year. And comparing the House and Senate bills, the difference in outcomes is pretty minimal. The House bill would decrease the lowest 20% income by $600 instead of $700 and increase the top 20% income by $6,500 instead of $5,700, which is why I'm talking about this bill now, because they still have to iron out the details, but it's not looking good either way. Now, you may see Republicans touting that this bill will actually reduce the deficit by $507 billion. This is intentionally misleading. They literally asked the Congressional Budget Office to produce two numbers: its typical current law baseline estimate, as well as a current policy baseline. The typical baseline looks at what the law currently is set to do as it's written, and then estimates how much the new policy will cost. The Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is set to expire at the end of this year. So the typical CBO estimate looks at what this will cost if nothing is done, if the tax law was allowed to revert back to the pre-Tax Cuts and Jobs Act levels. That number is estimated to add up to over $3 trillion to the deficit. The Republican-requested current policy baseline looks at if the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act were to be extended as is, not change, how much this new bill changes the deficit compared to that alternate non-existent reality where the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act just continues unchanged. That's where they're getting the $507 billion deficit reduction numbers. According to the New York Times, quote, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, a nonpartisan group that calls for lower deficits, has characterized the current policy estimate as a massive budget gimmick used to hide the true cost of legislation. For example, the budget group argued Congress could create a temporary universal health care or Medicare for All program with a single-year cost of $3 trillion, and in the next year claim that making the program permanent would cost nothing under a current policy estimate. So despite what clever Republican marketing and White House websites would have you believe, the numbers do not lie. The real effect of the One Big Beautiful Bill is to take money from programs that benefit the poor and put it in the pockets of the people who are already the wealthiest in this country. It is a massive redistribution of wealth that frankly would make Ronald Reagan blush. Republicans are going to point to the lower tax payments and the no tax on tips provisions and say, see, your life is better now than it was before this bill. And meanwhile, 12 million people will lose Medicaid coverage. 16 million children will receive less in food stamps. Hospitals will close. The number of ICE agents on the streets will surge, and the budget deficit will balloon out of control, and the Republican disinformation machine will continue humming on down the road with the entire MAGA cult still on board. The margins are really slim to get this thing passed. The news moves fast, so it might have gone through by the time you're watching this, but if it hasn't, and you have a Republican representative, pick one thing that I mentioned in this episode and call them ceaselessly to complain about it. Be a thorn in their side, and don't let them get away with this without knowing their constituents are not happy with them. It's still gonna pass, but you might as well strike fear in the hearts of your Republican representatives in the meantime. If you want to support my work, all my videos are completely ad-free and uncensored over on...
She's like a machine. This woman is a damn machine. All right. Shit, you got Bernie Sanders coming out the cut. Damn, everybody's taking...
On Tuesday morning, in a race to get it through Congress before Trump's self-imposed 4th of July deadline, the US Senate passed its amended version of the One Big Beautiful Bill, the 1,000-page mega bill crammed with essentially all of Trump's campaign pledges. The original version of this bill, which was narrowly passed by the House of Representatives in May, was already pretty controversial, even among Republicans, largely because of its impact on the national debt. However, this new version passed by the Senate looks set to be even more controversial, with a number of provisions that, according to most economists, will further benefit the richest Americans, cut benefits from the poorest, and put even more strain on America's public finances. So in this video, we're going to take a look at this new version of the BBB, why it looks arguably worse, and whether Trump will be able to force it through Congress. We're getting ever closer to 1 million subscribers, and 68% of you aren't even subscribed yet. So lend us a hand and subscribe today. So let's get straight into it. Perhaps the most important difference between this version of the BBB and the last one is that it actually strains America's public finances even further. The original version of the BBB, passed in May, was already pretty expensive. The Nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, for instance, estimated that it would add $2.4 trillion to the national debt over the next 10 years, and that's excluding increased debt servicing costs. And that's largely thanks to the costs of extending Trump's 2017 tax cuts, which were due to expire over the next couple of years. While pinning down precise figures for the Senate version is difficult because so many amendments have been thrown around and the final version only passed about 24 hours ago, both the Congressional Budget Office and Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget have previously estimated that it would add an additional $800 billion to the national debt over the next 10 years, and that's on top of the $2.4 trillion from the original bill. This will take the US debt to GDP ratio up to 150%, one of the highest in the world. This is largely because the Senate version has pared back certain spending cuts that were spooking Senate Republicans, including to rural hospitals and farming, and because the Senate version includes a couple of further tax cuts, mostly centered around state and local tax or SALT deductions. For context, the SALT deduction allows taxpayers to deduct certain taxes paid to state and local governments from their federal taxable income. The specifics are pretty complicated, but the TLDR is that this generally benefits rich people in high-tax states, like New York or California, and it's currently capped at $10,000 per year per household. But the House version of the BBB wants to raise this to $40,000 for households earning less than $500,000 a year, which would basically benefit those earning between $150,000 and $500,000. But the Senate version goes even further and protects a series of workarounds that allow rich people to avoid the cap altogether, thus avoiding paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal taxes. All in all, the Senate's version of the BBB will cost the bottom 20% of taxpayers an average of $560 a year, but it will give an average boost of $6,055 to those on the top end, according to analysis by Yale's Budget Lab, a cost which will be funded with yet more debt. While the White House will argue that at least some of this new debt should be offset by new tariff revenues, this would still imply that the US is continuing to run deficits of at least 6% of GDP for the foreseeable future. And that's before you even take into account the negative impact that most economists expect tariffs to have on GDP growth. Now, this is both unsustainable and way above the 3% deficit that Scott Bessent promised during the campaign. It's also restarted an ongoing feud between Trump and Elon Musk, who's taken to X to attack the bill's fiscal implications, and again threatened to create a New America Party or fund primary challenges against Republicans who vote for the bill. Now, to offset some of these costs, the updated BBB also includes more cuts to welfare spending. These are mostly aimed at Medicaid, which provides health coverage to poorer Americans via a combination of stricter eligibility requirements and cuts to the so-called provider tax. Now, to be fair, the provider tax is a bit mad. It's basically a way for state governments and local hospitals to conspire to squeeze more money out of the federal government. In short, the federal government pays for half of all Medicaid costs, so a procedure that costs $100 at a hospital should cost the state government $50 and the federal government $50. However, most states squeeze more money out of the federal government by putting a provider tax on hospitals, then letting them charge inflated fees. For example, if the state imposes a 10% provider tax, the hospital will increase its prices to $110, and then the state government will collect $10. Paying the provider $110 instead of $100 and then collecting the extra $10 in tax may seem pointless. But because the cost of the operation has nominally gone up from $100 to $110, the federal government will now contribute $55 instead of $50, which is beneficial to the state. Now, the new version of the BBB will incrementally reduce the allowable provider tax to 3.5%, down from 6% in the House bill, with the drawdown beginning in 2028. Nonetheless, even if the provider tax is a bit silly, it still effectively implies a steep cut to Medicaid spending, given that provider taxes account for about 10% of all federal Medicaid funding, and as much as 35% in some states like Utah. All in all, the Congressional Budget Office estimates that the bill would increase the number of uninsured Americans by nearly 12 million people by 2035. The final difference between the two versions of the BBB worth mentioning concerns energy. That's because the House version of the BBB included the withdrawal of billions of dollars from the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, a Biden-era legislation that introduced massive subsidies and tax cuts for domestic investments in renewable energy and nuclear power. Now, this was already causing some consternation among not just climate-conscious progressives, but also Republicans in states experiencing IRA-induced manufacturing booms in clean energy. But the original Senate version of the BBB went one step further, with an excise tax on new renewable projects, but this was stripped out at the last minute. Nonetheless, the latest version still implies a rapid phase-out of IRA subsidies, undermining investor confidence and the climate transition. Conversely, the new bill includes a tax breaks for metallurgical coal, with Trump's energy secretary saying that he imagines coal, natural gas, and nuclear to be the future of America's energy system. Unsurprisingly, numerous polls have found that the BBB is deeply unpopular and fares terribly with independents. A Fox News poll from last month, for instance, found that just 22% of independents support the BBB, while 73% oppose it. Nonetheless, even if it's unpopular with the wider public, the threat of a Trump-backed primary challenger will probably force Republicans into line. All of this plays into a broader feeling coming out of America at the moment. At one time, the US seemed to be a steady, stabilizing force in global politics. But it seems that those days are over, with American influence, popularity, and dominance on the decline. So in the next issue of our magazine, Too Long, we're discussing this shift and the potential that we're currently observing the end of the American order. In that section of the magazine, we unpack everything from the collapse of democratic norms in the US to the decline of American soft power, and if the US can maintain its dominance in energy and technology. We also discuss the people who could pick up the reins from the US, like if China, Europe, or even a new multipolar order could replace America. This magazine is our longest ever, coming in at 76 pages, and it's full of our very best journalism and well thought through analysis. That goes beyond just the...
Okay, interesting. All right, we had a black CPA here talking about the tax list, but we don't know.
Conducted one of the most successful military strikes in all of history, Operation Midnight Hammer, and that's exactly what it was. It was a hammer. This evening, we're honored to be joined by 150 airmen and their families from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri.
Okay, so they said this was going to happen. I didn't know this was going to happen on the 4th of July. But he's going to be meeting up with the B-2 pilots. You know, he's meeting up with the B-2 pilots that dropped the bunker buster in Iran. All right. And then we're gonna check out what's going on with Elon Musk soon. We got a video here which looks cool. America's political crisis: why Elon Musk wants to destroy the two-party system. Yeah, Elon Musk was talking about doing a separate party while he was going off on his Trump rant. But how legitimate is that? You know, he kind of he said a lot of stuff about Trump and then just fell back. And this is prior to this whole, Israel and Iran war, Plus there's a lot of rumors coming out about Russia and the Ukraine, which is still going on to this day. So I don't know. Let's go.
Home of the B-2 bomber. And we've kept them a little bit on guard. We kept them a little bit, let's be a little bit quiet about it. But if you want to raise your hand very quickly, raise your hand, because you people are just incredible. They don't want to be in disguise. They say, we don't have to do that. They're looking at us like we're a bunch of babies. We don't have to be in disguise. We saw all those hands go up. Thank you very much. We owe you everything. Great job. Incredible. Just flawless. One of the most flawless military campaigns in the history of our country. If you remember years ago, they had helicopters crashing into each other. It was a disaster, the hostages in Iran. And we had just the opposite. We didn't have any crashes.
Boy, Melania looked like she tired of standing like shit.
We didn't lose any planes. We didn't lose anybody. Those beautiful planes that you saw were totally stealth. They flew right over the center of a very hostile country, and they never...
So those planes, those are huge planes. And we went over how they basically get past people's defense, They coat those planes, and I've always wondered, I'm like, they have to coat those planes in some type of paint. And lo and behold, before they take off, they were showing the people spraying them down in the stealth the paint that they spray on those planes. And they were saying that if they have to do it a certain way, because if there's like a blemish, if there's one little blemish on those B-2 bombers, they instantly come up on radar. But then again, Iran don't have no advanced radars, so hey,
Even saw it coming.
as big as a country that is, it's a lot of airspace to cover.
And then they said, skedaddle. They dropped the bombs. They said, skedaddle. And that big sucker turned over like this on its side, and it got out of there. Well, I'll tell you what, how they do that, but they can do it. I asked our great General Kane, how do they do that? Do they really love doing that? Look at them, they're all laughing. And they said, do they really like doing it, sir? They can't wait.
Give me 1 second, guys.
Better
I'll be
you
right back.
than me. That's all I can say. It was a flawless mission. Every single bomb hit, and it was total obliteration. Total obliteration. Now, even the fake news is admitting that. They hated to admit it, but they had no choice. That was an incredible thing, and these heroic pilots showed our enemies what it means to fly, fight, and win. To every service member who supported that mission, and we have many of them here, we've made we've made you proud by supporting, but you've made us even prouder by having the courage to get in those gorgeous machines and fly through the roughest airspace anywhere in the world. And we salute you and we honor you. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. And we're also honored and delighted to be joined by hundreds of service members and military families. Those families are the best we have, from all across the U.S. Armed Forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force. I love the Space Force. You know why? Because we're the ones that did it. It's turned out to be a very invaluable force, actually. The Coast Guard and the Marines are incredible people. On behalf of our entire nation, this 4th of July, we thank you for keeping America safe, strong, sovereign, and free. Thank you very much for being here. Great honor. And stick around for the fireworks. And our country's had so much to celebrate this Independence Day. As we enter our 249th year, America is winning, winning, winning like never before. We're not, I'll tell you, we're in a category now that's where we've wanted to be for a long time. We suffered with 4 horrible years of embarrassment. Afghanistan may be the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. We're never going to let a thing like that happen again. Trillions of dollars are pouring into the United States for investment purposes. Almost $15 trillion. There's never been anything like it. There's never been anything even close.
What's going on,
The
Brian?
stock market's at an all-time high. Jobs are at an all-time high. Everything's at an all-time high, and we're going to keep it that way.
That's
We're
a
the
Bron
greatest
Slap Power
country
guy.
in the world, and we're back. We're back like nobody thought possible this quickly. I thought.
So let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think that America is doing better? Or is Trump a good salesman keeping the bluff up? Some people will say, oh, Trump is keeping up this bluff for the country. Some people say, hey, we're actually doing a lot better. As crazy as he is, he knows how to keep the people calm. Crazy as kept, he knows how to keep the people calm. Because everybody's losing their minds, and he's like, we're doing great. We're doing better. We're doing great. We're doing better. War Master has some of the most funniest memes over on Rumble pertaining to this man. I don't know how he finds them, but that shit is funny. But let's go.
It would take maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe even 3. And we did it in less than 6 months. We are back and strong. We've restored American strength and deterrence on the world stage. We're respected again. The world is respecting us again. When we did NATO, those leaders came up to me and they said, you know what, we're going to go to a new level of spending because you're requesting it, sir. They didn't talk to your last president like that, I can tell you. They didn't spend any money. They didn't spend anything. In a few moments, we're going to make official the greatest victory yet when I sign the one big, beautiful bill. And before I start, I want to tell you that I've never seen people.
What's going on, Link? They're doing great. They're doing better. Now, shout outs to Link. Shout outs to Link. Bro, that movie, She Hates Me, it was a crazy little movie. But a piece of me felt like I had to see it. I might have to watch it twice. That movie was weird, but it was interesting. That man's life took a left real quick. Party said it's because it's a microwave society. That's true. With social media, and the cheap seats won't be able to know for sure if it's good or bad until he damn near out of office. That's true. And there's more cheap seats. And they want to see if he's going to crash out, which they keep telling y'all he's crashed out, but the man said, and Elon Musk, he has a black eye. Bro, Donald Trump, I ain't gonna lie, man. We living through some of the greatest presidents in our life, bro. You think people today are losing their mind? Imagine if he was president a long time ago. And Abraham Lincoln and all them people was alive. They would have lost their mind.
We're so happy in our
With the black eye.
country because of that, because so many different groups of people are being taken care of, the military and civilians of all types, jobs of all types. We're adding
I feel you, Link.
things like the biggest tax cut in the history of our country, child tax credits. So many things are being added that we wouldn't even have time to discuss them when we were doing it.
Right,
John
Party.
Thune and Mike Johnson right there. I see Mike. What a job they've done. What a job they've
Even
done.
with the black eye.
But you know, it was supposed to be in 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 different bills. And I was on one of the fake news shows and I said, let's do it in one beautiful, we want one big, beautiful bill. I said that to this newscaster, and I think a lot of the congressmen and senators were watching, and they said, let's name the bill that, the one big, beautiful bill. And that's what we did, and what we've done is put everything into one bill. It's never happened before. It's the biggest bill of its type in history. We've never had anything like that before. Nothing like that they thought would be possible to get passed. And actually, I liked it because we had so much in there that no matter who you are, there was something in that bill that would make your congressman or your senator or your congresswoman, much more importantly, raise their hand and support, right, Lisa? So that was something, and it was really something special. So the American people gave us a historic mandate in November. We won everything. We won the swing states, all 7 swing states. We won every one. That rarely happens. We won the popular vote. We won the districts, 2,750 to 505. That's why when you look at a map, it's all red, a little blue on each end, but it's all red. And by the way, red means Republican, just in case. But we made promises, and it's really promises made, promises kept, and we've kept them. This is a triumph of democracy on the birthday of democracy. And I have to say that the people are happy. They're happy. And I listened to a broadcast, and I read a couple of articles. They have the Democrats, they should have voted for it. They didn't vote for tax cuts.
I will say this. He's a lot more calmer this term. That's because he's been the president before, and he kind of knows what I guess you could say what the job entails. lot more calmer this term. Yeah, she tired of standing. Her legs hurt and shit. She making me nervous. She just standing there like, let me just sit here and kind of smile and swing back and forth.
They didn't vote for taking care of people. They didn't vote, not one vote. And we knew that because their hatred of either the country or me or both is so great. They didn't vote at all, and it's terrible. But I just have to say,
No, I did not see the UFC doing a show on the White House lawn. I'm surprised he let all these people on the White House lawn. But now I'm going to turn what you just said into a joke. Look at Dana White and the UFC fighting in front of the White House, even with a black eye.
they have a routine. It's terrible, they say. Terrible, terrible. You saw that guy standing up for hours yesterday. He didn't know what he was even doing there. I say, when's he sitting down? He had a towel. He's wiping his face. That's not too elegant. But what is he? I said, what is he doing for so long? And he couldn't criticize the bill. He was criticizing everyone else and everything else. So they've developed, and this is according to the news media, they've developed a standard line, and we can't let them get away with it. Oh, it's dangerous. Oh, everybody's going to die. It's actually just the opposite. Everybody's going to live. This is just the opposite. And I just want you to know, if you see anything negative put out by Democrats, it's all a con job. And they said, and they compared it to just like the con job of Russia, 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 and all of the other things they did. The 51 intelligence agents said, and the laptop from hell, it came from Russia, they said. No, it didn't come. A lot of things come from Russia. That didn't come from Russia. And it was all proven out to be a fake job.
Now, that's the thing, though. The Democrats, it seems like they get like an endless... We could just sit up here and keep lying on this man get out of jail free card. Like, the Democrats will put out a lie on Trump. It won't be true. And I think they are, but they won't show it to us, but they are. We've been talking to y'all about it on these smaller channels. The news somewhat covers it, but they codify it. They, as in the Democrats, they just get an endless get to lie on this man, get out of jail free card, and nobody really calls them on their credibility when they get proved wrong. But low key, a lot of people are. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are calling them on their shit when they're wrong about Trump. And then the crazy part is that you have a lot of people leaving the Democratic Party. And this is what we're talking about on the last show. And this is what I was saying to War Master, that, what he said was true. How a lot of people are, rhinos, Republican in name only. A lot of them, they've defected back to the Democrats. And then a lot of people that swore up and down they were Democrats, well, you already know the rest. They're Republicans now. And I don't even think that's the case. That might be a part of it. But I think a lot of it is because, I don't know, Trump's politics are interesting. And I've seen War Master do it. I've seen a lot of other people do it. I've seen people that do commentary do it. I wasn't alive for it. But they were like, it's similar to Reagan. It's similar to Reagan. And I ain't gonna lie. I mean, coming up, I've only heard horrible things. Not horrible things, but not too many. I didn't hear too many good things about Reagan, y'all. But people were saying that Reagan isn't bad, and people that's kind of from Hollywood that have a different way of looking at politics. Party said, even with a black eye, his wife supports Mr. White. UFO said White House lawn fights while demanding peace between Iran and Israel. Crazy. Crazy. Shit, some of the best fighters in UFC is from the Middle East. Crazy as kept.
And that's what they're doing with this. So
even with a black
we just
guy.
have to look forward, fellas. Look forward and just say what it is, because it's the most popular bill ever signed in the history of our country. Whether you're military or anybody else, this is the most popular bill ever signed. And it includes the largest tax cut in American history, the largest spending cut, $1.7 trillion. And yet you won't even notice. It just waste, fraud, and abuse in American history. So you have the biggest tax cut, the biggest spending cut, the largest border security investment in American history. We want to have strong borders. And the only thing is, we want to have great elections, too. You need strong borders and elections. And my people have promised me that we're going to go into elections, and we're going to make sure they're not rigged, that they're not sullied. We're going to make sure that the elections are going to be fair. You need two things. You need strong borders, and you need fair elections. And we're going to make sure on the elections also. And our armed forces are one of the most vital military modernizations of all time. It will take place. So we rebuilt our military in our first term, and now we're going to modernize and remodernize our military, including building a great golden dome all over our land, so that if they get nasty with us, it's going to be knocked down. It's going to make any of the golden domes, they call them the iron domes, we're calling ours the golden dome, because we did the iron domes, and we do sort of everything, if you want to know the truth, but this blows it away. We're going to keep you safe. I want to thank every member of the House and Senate who worked to get this bill on my desk, and many of them are here, and I'm not going to mention all their names because we'll be standing here, but I have to mention a few. And especially I want to thank Vice President J.D. Vance, who's been fantastic. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who's been incredible. We have somebody that is, it was a passion. I think he actually loved it. It wasn't easy, but he loved it. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who's right here. Speaker, thank you very much. What a job, and he worked so closely with the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, who's a fantastic guy. And those two are a team that is not going to be beat. When you look at them and you look at their counterparts on the other side, it's not even close. I want to thank both of you people for doing an incredible job. Thank you very much, John and Mike. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, a brave man. Steve, you know, he suffered a tragedy a number of years ago. I was at his hospital bedside that night with Melania, with our First Lady, and he had no chance. The doctor said he has very little chance, and you look better today than you did then. You didn't look particularly good that night, I will say. But I learned one thing. His beautiful wife loved him. She was a disaster, right? I told him, I said, Steve, I can only tell you one thing. I was with your family, and I was with your wife, and your wife was devastated. She loves you. I've seen a lot of wives that, you know, they don't seem to be so concerned in those situations. That's the kind of wife you don't want. But you have a great, beautiful wife who was really there, and you really have done. You're a very brave guy, and Mike and John and everybody that's standing with you knows it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
He almost said big, beautiful wife. You have a big, beautiful wife. Big, beautiful bitch. Shout out to Link. Link said, I've got a movie night suggestion. Yeah, man, hit me with it. I appreciate you. Yeah, let me know. Shout outs to everybody here. As long as the movie nights are supported, I'm with it. You know, because I never know. They might knock me down on Rumble or Kick, you know. So we usually have them on Rumble and Kick. All right? Yeah, hit me with it. Looking for some suggestions. If you guys got a movie that you think that we should watch together and you guys want to come up, or, you know, we kick in and stuff, yeah, let me know.
Majority Whip, this is a guy who's great. When I have a problem, I call him up and he gets it done. He's a tough cookie. I don't know why he's not the governor of Minnesota. He comes from Minnesota. He's like, oh, look, he goes, no, I don't want to run for governor. You know, come to think of it, I think that's a good idea. You would win so easily. The guy is terrible. you would win. You just have to take a look at that handsome face of yours, and you'd win. Tom Emmer, everybody. He did a great job. I think you should consider that, although we don't want to lose him, do we? We don't want to lose. Say we are. I think say we are. What a job you did. And Senate Majority Whip John Barrasso, who's incredible. Senate Finance Chairman Mike Crapo. Thank you, Mike. What a job. What a job. He knows that tax stuff. Him and Jason, they really know their stuff. Senate Budget Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham. What a good man he is. I see a poll. He's running, and I see a poll. He's 24 points up. That's not bad, Lindsey. That's not bad. 24 points up in the great state of South Carolina. House Ways and Means Chairman Jason Smith. What a job. Thank you, Jason. Thank you. These people are great. These are great patriots. I have to call them out. House Budget Committee Chairman Jody Arrington. Jody, thank you very much. Jody has been good right from the beginning, and so many others, and they're all here, and they fully understand. They'll never speak to me again, but that's okay. It is what it is, but I just want to thank everybody. A lot of senators here.
I wonder if we can play that on YouTube, but knowing because it says Donald Trump, they're probably going to be like, nope. Absolutely. I definitely. If you can come up with a link for it, I got it. I'll definitely do it.
A lot of congressmen and women here. Lisa, thank you very much, by the way. I have to thank you. Thank you very much. You've been fantastic. So this bill will fuel massive economic growth and lift up the hardworking citizens who make this country run. The factory workers, farmers, mechanics, waiters, waitresses, police officers, firefighters, coal miners. Coal is back. Beautiful. I said you can't use the word coal unless you precede it by saying clean, beautiful coal. China's right now building 68 coal generating plants, and we're putting up wind. It doesn't work, I will tell you. Aside from ruining our fields and our valleys and killing all the birds and being very weak and very expensive, all made in China. I noticed something, that with all of the windmills that China sends us, where we waste our money because it's the most expensive energy, I see that, they make about 95% of them, the wind turbines. I have never seen a wind farm in China. Why is that? Somebody check that out. Tom Emmer, would you please check that out? But all the coal miners we love and the truck drivers, in this act, we have officially made the Trump tax cuts permanent. That's the largest tax cut in the history of our country, added to substantial other cuts, which is you're going to see like a rocket ship. We're setting all sorts of economic records right now, and that's before this kicks in. After this kicks in, our country is going to be a rocket ship economically, and we've delivered no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. And that's why when you hear things like that, this is the most it's the biggest bill of its kind ever done by far. But we are going to have a situation, we are going to have something where people are going to realize the level of success and popularity of this bill. And sort of to close it out, it makes the child tax credit permanent for 40 million American families. And to increase the car affordability, it makes interest on a new car payment. So this had never happened before. You buy a car, you borrow money, you're allowed to deduct for income tax purposes your payment of interest. You're allowed to deduct it. It's never happened before. So run out and buy a car. But I have to tell you, it's only good, Mike, if it's made in America. If it's made in another country, you don't get it.
That's what LT man.
And to protect 2 million family farms and other small businesses, we're eliminating the estate tax or the death tax. So if you want to leave your farm or your small business, but the farms they have been devastated, to your children, if you love your children. By the way, if you don't love your children, don't even listen to what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. But if you love, would you live? Yes, I think you love your child. This one loves Barron. So I don't know if we're a small business. I think we're not. I'm not sure that we qualify. I'm sorry, darling. But it was devastating. Farmers, they had to go out and borrow money. And by the way, is that Pam Bondi?
Yeah,
Pam Bondi, raise your hand. Thank you, Pam, for being here. Attorney General, she's done an incredible job. So there won't be any, think of this, There won't be any death tax. You're not going to have to go borrow money. Your parents pass away and the farm goes into the bank's hands and gets foreclosed. That's not going to happen. And with 100% expensing for new investments, we're cutting taxes for every manufacturer who builds, expands. And we have expansion at the highest level that we've ever had it. We have hundreds of factories, including car plants and AI. It's coming into our country at levels that we've never seen. And to conclude, not only will we have the strongest economy on earth, we're also going to have the strongest borders on earth. And last month, did you see the number? 0 people crossed our border. 0 illegal people. And that's after Joe Biden let 21 million people, many of them people from gangs and prisons and drug lords and people that were mentally unbalanced, they let them into our country. We're getting them out at record numbers, and we have an obligation to, and we're doing it. So as we approach the 250th anniversary of America's founding exactly 1 year from now, we are creating an economy that delivers wealth for the middle class, a border that is sovereign and secure, and a military that is unmatched, unequaled anywhere in the world. And you saw that. And what a beautiful sight that was, especially after watching what they did just a short while ago. The golden age of America is upon us. We are in the golden age. It's going to be a period of time, the likes of which I don't think this country has ever experienced before. We're going to make America great again, and it's happening very fast. We love you. We thank you for being here. Enjoy the fireworks tonight. And First Lady, I want to thank you. You have been unbelievable. You think it's easy being First Lady? It's not. Thank you all very much. Happy 4th of July. God bless you all. Thank you very much, everybody. All right. We're going to sign the bill now.
They're saying the courts can't stop Trump now. Once he gets this bill in, it's game over. They said it barely got through too.
Mom, let me go back now.
What do you think Kamala would have been doing around this time? If we are alive.
this is the gavel we use to enact the big beautiful bill, and I want you to have that for your
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Have a good time, Hi, Marge. There you go. 28 points. It's a lot of points. Good job. Richard Absolutely. And we have some more. We'll give you some more. Our great first lady. Come here. Oh, yeah. You would have worked me. Scott. You're awesome. Congratulations. I'll let you know the guy. I don't know. Honey, now you got to go in. Get the gavel.
You're very trusting.
Give that guy a raise.
It's scary watching Trump because you never know if you're going to see an assassination, y'all.
Give that guy a raise. Thank you very much, everybody. And I want to thank the people up here. They're unbelievable people. Mary, hi, Mary.
The Fed cuts are a good indicator of the economy. He said we about to be rich as hell just off the tariffs alone. Like, what?
How's Scott doing? Good job? Scott, how's the economy? Okay?
Wonderful. It's going to get better.
From South Carolina. It's been amazing. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good time. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th.
Yeah, so I've heard. I heard people saying XRP is finally starting to do good, which I haven't taken a look at it.
You got a good doctor.
It weighs about 20 pounds. That's how big it is.
This president. This president. Thumbs up.
Okay, thumbs up.
Y'all want to be president next, y'all? Vince McMahon? We got a couple of people in the building. Yeah, God bless America, my home sweet home. So they say. Right? We got a couple people still opening up on this story about 4Extra losing his hand. We're going to get into that, but let's see what Myron got to say about this big, beautiful bill.
Yes, guys. If you're one of these lazy porch, you know what I'm saying? Porch. Yeah, the big, beautiful bill is not going to be good for you. Basically, what it's doing is it's creating tax cuts, okay, for about 62% of Americans, all right, that work.
Now, I forgot. Myron is one of those guys that's saying that this is a horrible bill. I don't know. Myron's one of those guys saying that this is a horrible bill, and then he's saying that we shouldn't have went into, Iran. You got a lot of guys that claim to be staunch Republicans, or I don't know. I don't even know where they stand these days. Are y'all Republican or not? But a lot of these guys haven't been agreeing with Trump lately, and I mean, if you let people tell it on the internet, it's like ha ha he. This is what y'all voted for, but it's like in reality, it's just like they're just not agreeing with what some of the stuff he's doing right now. But then again, you got some Republicans that's like, hell yeah, he's doing a great job. So some people, when you run into them, you never knew where they were before. Yeah, shout outs to War Master. That pop word been coming up a lot lately. Republican and name only. Hopefully we can get War. I mean, I got to see when War Master is free next. Hopefully we can get him to do the Donald Trump documentary. I'll write down in my notes here to really get him to really expound on the rhino. And we might do a rhino segment going over Republicans in name only. Because, and let me ask you guys this question, and I'll if he pops up, I'll ask him that question also. Do you believe Myron is a rhino? Or is he a hippopotamus? Let me stop. Do you believe Myron is a rhino? Or maybe just a new Republican? You said what's going on with Iran and Israel? I'm not sure. I gotta update with that. I'm not sure if I don't think they've really attacked each other. I heard they're posturing, but that's about it. You said people just mad because black folks ain't the butt of the joke. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Trump kind of took a lot of heat off of niggas because they too busy treating him like a nigga. So politics been very selective and funny lately.
No taxes on tips, etc. And what it's doing is it's cutting taxes, but it's funding the cutting of those taxes via cutting back on social programs like Medicaid and SNAP, right? And it ensures that people have to have more documentation to get SNAP, which is basically food stamps, right? So don't work or are lazy, yeah, it's going to suck. You ain't going to be able to get a handout as much. But if you do work, you'll be able to keep more of your money, okay? If I'm going to just boil it down in like a...
I get that a lot of people abuse SNAP and food stamps. But it's kind of wrong to say that there are people that don't work and that are lazy. You know what I'm saying? There's people that actually really need that. I know there's a stereotype behind it, and people like to point it at black people. Which black people ain't the only people on SNAP. No, but a lot of those people, they've actually gone through a hardship and actually really need that stuff. Of course, we all know somebody that's probably taking advantage of that. Don't get me wrong. But not everybody on SNAP is lazy, you know.
Quick, 10-second thing, but I got a video here for you guys that I'll find that explains it very quickly. Let's see here. Boom. All right. Yeah, so guys, it's going to fund a bunch of stuff. Roughly 10,000 ICE agents, Border Patrol, CBP. It's going to fund the Department of Homeland Security to do more deportations. It's going to do tax cuts.
Right, DM.
For about 62% of the American population at work. But the way it's going to fund that, right, with, these new incentives is they're going to have to cut back from Medicaid and SNAP. Now, people are pissed off. The Democrats are pissed off because they look at it like, hey, this is punishing poor people. It's punishing people that, vulnerable class of Americans. But obviously, the working class and then also people that have money, too, they're going to benefit because they are going to get tax cuts and be able to keep more of their money. But what they're arguing, the Republicans, is this is going to generate economic growth, which will offset the...
But if you work as a bartender or a waitress or a waiter, that's good. That they're not going to play with your tips. But yeah, but that's with certain professions.
Deficit that they're in... that we're supposed to garner. We're supposed to... Basically, this bill is going to cost us money, which is why Elon Musk is so pissed off. Because he went ahead and he had Doge, and Doge was there to cut back government spending. This bill adds to the deficit. So obviously, this is why Elon Musk was so pissed off. And not only is Elon Musk pissed off because this is going to add more to the deficit. Hey, shout out to Rattlesnake TV, man. He just joined in. Welcome to the stream, Ninjas. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, let's go all the way back with this so this makes sense. As you guys know, Elon Musk started to support Donald Trump during his 2024 campaign last year.
I mean, you never know. You said if Myron's backstory is real, his family used Snap. You see? You never know, though. I mean, you never know. I mean, what am I about to say? Hold on, I'm getting distracted. You never know. I mean, the tariffs, they might cover that. You know what I'm saying? Like the money that the tariffs are gonna make, and there's still tariffs being imposed. But he kind of, he's kind of I guess the big beautiful bill is supposed to funnel in the tariffs and stuff like that. So a lot of millionaires are real secret, million and billionaires are real secretive, with how they deal with their money and their strategies and how they think. Millionaires don't really think the same way, and a lot of how they come up isn't the same way neither. Trump been rich, probably richer longer than Elon, if I'm not mistaken. So he, they having like, rich nigga quarrels and shit like that. But you said, cause he said they came over with nothing. You said burn baby burn. Debt's burn baby burn. Debt's only real when you can't pay it. Yeah, that's why I played that picture. That's why I played that I said that picture, that video for you guys with Stephen A. Smith. He said when you borrow 100,000 and you owe them back, you have a problem. But he was like, if you borrow a bunch of money and you owe them and you can't pay, he's like, we have a problem. That's some real shit. Can't go mafioso on everybody. And that's America for you. America's funded off of debt. They make the American people practice debt. Shout outs to Link. Okay, let me put that in my Rolodex. Hold on.
Right around this time, actually, right? Especially after he was shot and almost killed in Butler, Pennsylvania. After Trump won, Elon was appointed as the head of DOGE, okay, the Department of Government Efficiency. And the purpose of DOGE was to cut back on government spending, okay, cut back on government bureaucracy, government bloat, and overspending. And he was able to effectively save quite a bit of money for the U.S. government. Now, Trump put this bill in play, this big, beautiful bill, which tackles many different topics. It's huge, okay? It covers border security, building the border wall, hiring more ICE officers, more ICE agents and ICE personnel, because remember, guys, ICE has HSI and it has ICE ERO. So hiring more of them, hiring more Border Patrol agents, etc. Also, it talks about giving tax cuts to, a significant portion of the majority of the American population that works, where they're able to keep more of their money on overtime, on overtime, no taxes on tips, etc. So they're able to effectively keep more of the money that they make. But for him to fund this, the other thing was also getting credit on buying cars. When you get an auto loan, if you buy American made, you get a benefit on that, and you get a better price. You basically get a tax cut on that if you buy American. So all of these different things is to allow working Americans to keep more of their money, no tax on tips, less tax on overtime, etc. So it allows them to keep more of the money that they actually work for. Now, who this is going to hurt? This is going to hurt people that want to be porch. So if you don't want to work, you want to chill or whatever, especially for the able-bodied adults, this is going to suck for you. If you were one of these people that used to sit at home all day and collect welfare because you think collecting welfare is better than having a job, because there are some positions or a lot of people out there where they say, yo, I make more money from welfare than I do from working a real job, so I'm just not going to work. If you're one of those people, this is going to be a very bad time for you, because you're going to have to go ahead and show that you're working at least 80 hours a month, okay? And if you can't show that, you're not going to get the benefits, pretty much. And then Medicaid, they also cut Medicaid as well. And obviously, Democrats are losing their minds over this because they're like, look, this bill is targeting a vulnerable part of the American population, blah, blah, blah. Right? So this is why a lot of Democrats much. And then Medicaid, they also cut. You're going to have to go ahead and show that you're working at least 80 hours a month. Okay? And if you can't show that, you're not going to get the benefits, pretty much. And then Medicaid, they also cut Medicaid as well. And obviously, Democrats are losing their minds over this because they're like, look, this bill is targeting a vulnerable part of the American population, blah, blah, blah. Right? So this is why a lot of Democrats oppose it. They look at it like this is a bill to make the poor people poorer, right? But it's helping a lot of the working class. And obviously, improving border security, giving people benefits for buying American-made products, etc. So, and what the Trump administration and the Republicans are saying, like, yes, this is going to add more to the deficit, but that's going to be offset from all the Americans having more of their money, and they're going to put it back. Because as you guys know, you
said, and that's if you want to just if you want to be intertwined with the government. Man, when is Trump doing that ERS thing? That shit sounds good. I like the ERS idea.
When people save money and they hold on to their money, it hurts the economy. It doesn't stimulate. Why do you think they were during the COVID? They're giving all these stimulus packages. They need money to rotate. They need people to spend money to keep the economy going. So they look at it like, if we put more money in their pockets and we also give tax cuts for businesses, those businesses can employ more people. Those people get employed. They work. They stimulate the economy. They make money. They spend. And that gets things going. So they kind of look at it like with a little bit of like, Reaganomics, where you have the top down, you're giving tax breaks to not just the upper echelon that employ people, but also the middle class who are working. And then obviously the porch niggas, they're going to be pissed off because they can't get handouts, right? So that's why this bill is so controversial. And it's, a lot of people are pissed off. But like I said before, the big thing is because the other thing that's controversial about it is not just because, the Democrats and the left are saying, yo, it's going to impose, problems for people that are more vulnerable. The other thing is they're saying, hey, well, this is going to add to the deficit, which is why Elon Musk is so pissed off. But the Trump administration is saying, yo, look, with all this stimuli we're going to create, that's going to offset that deficit. Now, with Elon Musk, he's taking this a bit personal, guys, because as you guys know, with Elon Musk, right, he's been beefing with Trump about this, criticizing this bill for a very long time. A big reason why, guys, is because, as you guys know, Elon Musk lost a lot of money on Tesla and SpaceX and all of his other businesses because he was focusing on the campaign and Doge and kind of taking his attention off of the pulse from his businesses. And on top of that, when he was supporting Trump, a lot of these Tesla dealerships were getting blown up by liberals, right? There were so many different people getting arrested by the FBI all across the country for basically lighting Teslas on fire, destroying them at the dealerships, etc. So this obviously made the Tesla stock fucking crash and go wild. And he lost a lot of money on this. Obviously, SpaceX, he didn't devote enough time to it. Twitter, also started to degrade quite a bit as well because he was focusing on the Doge stuff. And, you know, this is obviously in the middle of him getting Ashley St. Clair.
Link, you killing me, man. He do be overdoing it, but no, you good, man. No, it's true. You just said what I be thinking, but I get it though from a content creator perspective. He's like, see, why you always gotta do that shit? Slash, just give the info, man. Yeah, I mean the monkey noises and the bruh. He be ODing with it, man. They listen. They're still new with equipment, man. They always overdo this equipment and sound effects thing, but it's it's a shtick showmanship thing, you know. I'm not gonna say he has a goofy audience, but it's to get descriptive, you know. It's a descriptive thing, you know. The crowd that he entertains, they kind of it like I'm telling you, if like and I've been laughing about this. I sat around with a couple of the guys, you know, when we were introducing like equipment and microphones and stuff into the space. I think I had a conversation with Bark about this, but I know for sure back in the day we were sitting around laughing. I'm like, man, if you listen to a lot of these shows now that people are taking, you know, this advice, you know, the tech advice and stuff, these shows sound like cartoons, you know? Like if you didn't watch the show, like if you didn't look at it and you were just listening to it, every so often you would just hear like boing sound effects or quotes or one-liners or monkeys cackling and pigs and claps and horns and stuff like that. It's basically adult cartoons. You watch what you call it Tom and Jerry. You're gonna hear one of them get hit with a pan over the head, fire, slipping noises. A nigga done slipped on a banana. Somebody done ran off the side of a cliff. You know, even the coyote versus the road runner. You're gonna hear the feet scattering. You know, even the Flintstones. Like there's certain sounds you're gonna hear. People really don't pay attention to it like that. Well, I did. A couple of my other friends did, you know, here on YouTube that did tech shows. I'm like, man, you know, with all these sound effects, everything's gonna sound, you know, like a cartoon. So a lot of people they like the you know the overtly sound effects because it's descriptive, you know. But he done came up on the monkey sound effect. The monkey sound effect that he's using though remind me of old Doug DeMuro. Doug DeMuro used that sound in this car. I mean that sound obviously gets used everywhere, but I watch a lot of Doug DeMuro videos. Doug DeMuro used to use that in his car videos, you know. But the monkey sound and shit is funny though. You know, it just all of the stuff that he's using. It's a part of his brand. But I know exactly what you mean when you say, "See, why you always got to do that shit? Just give the info." Oh, shout outs to everybody here. If you guys are enjoying the show, please hit the like button, support the show. Definitely put in a lot of work today. Let's go.
Pregnant and all the other fucking drama he had to deal with this year while, you know, being at the White House. And obviously he returned back to Tesla and everything else like that because the investors basically demanded that Elon needed to go back to work. So he left And he was pissed off because this big, beautiful bill, he looks at it like, yo, I took all this loss with my businesses. I took all this reputational hit because I was a former Democrat. Now I'm over here with the Republicans. And you're just going to go ahead and spit in my face and go ahead and pass this big-ass bill.
Well, I mean, Elon did kind of get reduced. But then again, if he didn't get mad at that bill, he could have left the White House on good terms instead of crashing out. So he did kind of feed into it also. You know, he did kind of feed into it also and crashed out. Which I'm pretty sure he was upset. But can't blame it all on the orange man.
Bill, which adds to the deficit, right? But Trump's team is arguing, hey, well, the way we're going to stimulate the economy, that deficit is going to be eroded when people have more money and they put the money back into the economy because they're making money and we're giving them tax cuts. So a lot of it is speculative, guys, but I can see both perspectives.
Trump is bringing a bunch of funnels back into the U.S. economy. He's just creating a whole funnel system because he knows how business works. But what I'm saying is that, you know, he better make sure the next two terms are Republicans, but you know, it can happen with Republican or Democrat. They just better make sure when we get a whole bunch of money, they don't blow it. Because that's the American thing also, to blow the bag. You know, Trump probably ain't even going to see half that money he's setting up America to get. You know? You said Elon thought he was going to be running the game. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. So he should have kind of knew the people was kind of mixed about him because they were spray painting his trucks. And then again, when he first outed Trump, he had a couple of fans, but then when he went quiet and didn't double down on it, it's like, you know, when he didn't double down on it, that shit made him look crazy. What's good, Ant? Happy 4th of July weekend, man. Ant says, nah, Elon trying to save face. Yeah, now he is, but he should have did all of that. Them Dems are the ones upset and blowing up his dealership and not blowing up his dealership. Oh man, he had a black eye. Yeah. Hold on, we're gonna look into the second party that he wanted real quick. With his black eye.
I can see why Elon is mad because he literally lost billions upon billions of dollars in net worth to assist in the Trump campaign, and he also...
Please hit the like button, support the show, y'all. We're going on our almost 7th hour. Or almost 8th hour. You know, I think we did like 5-6 hours on the last show, and then it got cut off, and we're back. So if you guys could please hit the like button. Please support the show. Or I'm going to give you a black eye.
Spent a significant amount of money to get Trump into office, so he's obviously pissed off. But then Trump is pissed off because he's looking at it like, yo, you're not being a fucking loyal supporter. You're over here questioning my bill when I already have enough headaches getting this thing passed through the fucking government. Last thing I need is someone from my team criticizing my policy when I got to go fight with the ops. So both parties are obviously angry at each other for different reasons, but I hope you guys can understand why. Well, number one, how we got here. Number two, why Elon Musk is pissed off. You know, the crashing of his businesses, right? Because let's be honest here, guys. Tesla buyers are not conservatives and they're not Republicans. Most right-wingers don't give a fuck.
He was a fairy. Yep. He had a black eye.
About climate change. We make fun of climate change. We call it a scam on this side of the internet. But Democrats and liberals, progressives, the people that are more likely to buy Teslas, well, they're pissed off and they stopped buying Teslas because of his support of Trump.
was black.
So he got the double whammy.
Yo, why does Trump talk like he's like somewhat of a villain? His eye was black.
The stock going down and people destroying the Teslas and it had bad reputation on the Democrat side. People aren't buying the Teslas either because he ostracizes the very people that would be more climate friendly.
Myron, have you been working hard? You have 2 black eyes.
Right? Give me ones in the chat that all makes sense. I summarized it quite a bit. There's way more to it than that. I'm sure there's a lot of economists out there that could go way deeper. But I kind of want to give you guys a bird's eye view of what this big, beautiful bill is, what it's going to do, how it's going to affect people, and how we got a lot of the drama around this bill based on the Elon Musk-Trump relationship. Give me ones if that all makes sense.
Oh shit!
If you're just starting out as a book,
Shout outs to 5 points. I gotta watch this when I get off air because I gotta study before I get a black eye. Hold on, now we gotta find this Elon.
Not like this, guys.
Hold on, we gotta go back. It was another one that I had. Hold on.
Now, moving on. And Elon Musk is forming a
weird looking dude.
New political party in the United States, claiming a one-party system is currently in operation. Now, the Tesla and SpaceX boss and former ally of Donald Trump posted that he was starting the America Party to give people back their freedom. Musk announced his latest project based on a 24-hour poll in which a majority backed the new party. All right, well, for more on this, I'm joined by DW reporter Gassia Johannes, who's been keeping a close eye on this. Great to have you in the studio, Gassia. So why is Musk launching this party now? Is this like some type of escalation of some sort of his feud with President Trump?
well, Pablo, some people would say it's exactly that.
This is,
I mean,
here it is.
Musk has been vocally opposing the.
Here it is. This is what you don't want. You know, this is what you don't want. You don't want like a vendetta with guys like Elon Musk. Because he's prepared to have more black eyes.
One big beautiful bill that, as Trump calls it, that Trump just passed. And he has been threatening to take action and to form another political party if this happens. And now this is the follow through of that in a way. Now, we don't know if Musk has actually formed this party. He said that he's forming it, but so far there is no.
Y'all hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Please hit the PayPal. Please hit the Cash App. Just like whoever hit Elon Musk in his eye. Yeah, he got to save face. He just went quiet out of nowhere. And, yeah, he just went quiet out of nowhere. And, save face, honestly, yeah. I could dig it. He was a fairy.
No actual record of this, official record of this party, but it comes after a feud with President Trump that Musk has been having. And let's not forget, Musk spent around $250 million supporting the Trump campaign in 2024, and then only for Trump to pass a bill that would cut a lot of funding to Musk's companies because it would cut energy support for clean energy like solar energy, wind energy, and also electric vehicles. Right. So this affects Musk quite personally as well.
Of course, with Tesla, with those vehicles. So what impact could the America Party, as Musk is calling it, actually have on the two-party system, even though Musk is actually saying that he's claiming it's a one-party system, right?
Right. Elon Musk has said that on his Twitter, on X. But the way it works in the US is so complicated. In order to even get a party on the ballot, every state has different rules for that. So there's a lot of hurdles when it comes to establishing another party and going to elections with that. And let's not forget, Elon Musk was not born in the US, so he can't himself run for presidency. He hasn't yet said.
Somebody said some stupid shit like, oh, he's trying to deport Elon Musk. How? How? How is he trying to deport Elon Musk? For what? What law did he break? Other than having a black eye.
Who would lead this party? He hasn't really announced any plans. It's been a lot of ideas.
Shout outs to Anthony Southeast dropping the huge $5 on the Cash App. Thank you, bro. Let's keep the support going. I appreciate you. Shout outs to everybody supporting Player Talk Radio. Yes, thank you for fueling the game. I got you on the next segment. Man, we added more segments, man. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Keeping the show going. And making sure we don't have black eyes.
You're a victim.
Here we go, CSI.
Shout outs to Anthony Southeast. Thank you, bro.
More. Wendy?
Thanks, Chuck. We're standing here in front of the Olympic Liquor Store in Queens, where scores of African Americans have been lined up for hours. We spoke to a few of them earlier. Ladies, may we get a word?
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. With your broke ass.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they'll tell us, party. That's, that's true. But I mean, Trump wasn't too bad. I mean, he brought in a bunch of, South Africans in the States. I'm pretty sure if Elon, I wouldn't say sucked up to him, but if Elon could have probably cut a deal with him. Elon could have probably cut a deal with them, but you never know. They probably disagreed, behind the scenes. And by the time it was time for Elon to, leave the office, they probably wasn't on good terms. So Elon probably knew he probably couldn't cut a deal with them, and he was gonna have to take another L with the money. You know what I'm saying? But it's not in people's good interest to piss off a nigga that can become Iron Man within a matter of months. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why people don't watch movies and shit like that. Like, the villain arc is real, man. I wouldn't want to see Elon turn into a villain, but that nigga look like he can. Not all villains were good. I mean, were evil niggas. Some of them were good guys with good intentions, and And then Elon kind of felt like, a nigga done drained his pockets a little bit, which kind of happened, But he could have probably cut a deal with Trump. But then again, I don't know exactly where his Teslas are really being built. You know what I'm saying? So Trump probably would have told him, hey, you need to start building Teslas in America, or then put like a American stamp or something on Tesla or something like that. Probably, I don't know where him and Trump was at, with that, but he could have worked something out. But then again, Trump did said he was doing a good job. He did do a good job within like a couple of months, you know, finding extra money and stuff like that. And honestly, it was an audit. We talk about audits all the time. Obviously, I talk about bookkeeping. That's what people are afraid of. If I want to get a client real fast, I just scare the shit out of them with an audit. You know, because you have to have your taxes together to run a business. So people are afraid of audits. So it's just a big ass audit. You know, who audits the people doing an audit? So that's why they got a little too comfortable, and then they didn't think that an audit was gonna come that quick. They had to clean up their books. They got to make sure them numbers are right and accurate. Them niggas was doing way too much, and Elon found that shit out. You know. But yeah, it is fucked up for you to do all of that work and then the president kind of just like undo everything that you done. But sometimes if the person's the boss, they're the boss. You can't really question what the hell they're doing. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he's gonna be mad because you're a billionaire, but you signed up to be a worker. And when you sign up to be a worker, you damn near sign up for a boss. And sometimes you don't know what's on that boss's mind. He's like, yeah, I did a good job. And then he undo all your work. He just want to see if the job could get done. Not necessarily, bosses will shit test people. You know. But unfortunately, the more richer and the more, you're a boss yourself, because, it's really hard for a boss to work for another person, especially when you believe that you could run that business or at least that part of the business better than somebody else. That's kind of where, the egos come in, and even people that could make a better decision. But then again, if you're not the boss, you're not the boss. So some people get so wrapped up in their work, it's like you gotta come to your senses. But now he got a vendetta. So, but he said people who say that don't even realize how deep how deep Elon is with the government prior. I'm pretty sure. I mean, like, to be launching rockets and all kinds of shit. Shit, you gotta know somebody. You know. And a lot of those rockets, they kind of are faulty and fucking up and stuff like that. But a lot of them are very interesting. I didn't know they got towers. I saw that tower catch that rocket. I said, damn. I've never seen a tower hug a rocket. I said, damn, that tower just hugged the shit out of that rocket. I didn't know rockets can land like that. I need to get back up on my aviation game. I had to ask War Master what rocket was that, Also got to ask him about Starlink. I heard some stuff about Starlink. I think I'm about to have Steam set up on my computer soon. So we might have a gaming stream coming sooner than you know it, guys. It's just I gotta catch up with keeping Player Talk Radio running. Shout outs to Anthony Southeast. Thank you for supporting the show. If you guys could please hit the like button and support the show. Got to keep the lights on here at Player Talk Radio. You dig? All right. I've been having Wi-Fi problems too. This shit costs a lot to keep running. What was I about to say? You said that would be just political optics if what's floating around the net. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Trump don't seem like he's super mad at Elon. But I know if Elon go back, Trump gonna make him somewhat pay. You know, that's kind of how that shit goes. That's kind of how millionaires are. It's like, yeah, he ain't gonna directly, you know, fuck with you, but he gonna do little things on the back end to mess with you. You know, I was watching Kurt Angle talk about like Vince McMahon and the stuff Vince McMahon would do. I kind of look at Donald Trump like Vince McMahon. You know, if you did something, you know, oh yeah, he'll hire you back at the WWF, but you know, he'll put you in a fucked up position or do something backwards, you know, with you. You know? He did Kurt Angle a little dirty when he came back from TNA, y'all. You know, we're raving at. I know my wrestling fans, y'all kind of would like that. I still got some wrestling stuff we're going to start doing over on Rumble. I'm just getting everything together. I'm coming off of a horrible week, you know. So definitely, if you guys could please hit the like button and support the show. I promise you guys, I got a fuckload of content coming for you guys. I got a bunch of pre-records dropping today. You might not even have to tune into another channel in the future, you know? But don't trip. You said, how did Elon get money? I'm not sure. I thought he gave up his Doge paycheck, just like Trump gave up his White House paycheck. You know, I think he donated his Doge paycheck. I think he followed after Trump. But I ain't gonna lie, losing $250 million, I mean, that probably might not mean much to him, but that is a lot of fucking money. God damn, $250 million plus. That's a lot of fucking money. You know. And like a couple people say, when you're rich like that, you don't have to have all of that money. All you got to do is show that you got that money in your bank account and you just lend against it or borrow against it. Again, America loves debt. They will happily help you get into debt. You feel you got to pay it back.
He is, and not really like a pragmatic approach with, you know, what his vision is for this party and what he would do concretely. So we don't really know what his overall political vision is. We just know that he's raging against the two-party system in the U.S., and there have been attempts in the past, like in 1992, there was the Reform Party that managed to get around 19% of the general vote, but so far, no major party can break the two-party system in the U.S.
So let's talk about Musk, because his own popularity has been dropping. but is he tapping into something? Is there an appetite in the US for another party to challenge the Democrats and the Republicans?
There's a lot of growing dissatisfaction among the party voters themselves.
But who the hell would go to Elon Musk? Who y'all got going to this Elon Musk party? Is it the people that did like Trump, but are now coming to their senses and they're like, hey, I don't like Trump? So is it the rhinos that he's trying to appeal to? Or is it the Democrats that kind of like Trump, but Trump's like an exception, but they're not ready to be Republicans yet? What would be Elon's niche political party? What would be the ideology of that? Or is it people that start off going at somebody and then kind of fell back a little bit? Or I guess he realized it wasn't a good idea to just go after Trump in that manner, especially on some gossipy shit. Bernie Sanders?
With their own parties, the parties have shifted a lot and their agendas have changed, and there's not a lot of nuance in the two-party system. Now, Musk is aware of this, and he's even said he's trying to reach those, what he said, are 80% of voters that are dissatisfied. Now, we don't...
I gotta find, shout outs to Gold P. I gotta find Gold P. I gotta find Fasting. We gotta ask the family some questions. What political party would Elon must be reaching for? I don't know if Elon can vote. He probably can because he got a clearance. I don't know if the well, he don't got the clearance no more, but I don't know if that could make him eligible.
Don't know this number. That's what Musk
everybody
is claiming.
in the military got a clearance.
But the truth is, there is a lot of dissatisfaction. But in order to actually get those people, you need a clear agenda. You need a clear political program, which so far Musk has not really presented. So it's unclear, even though Musk has this strategy of reaching those people, it's unclear how he will get their support, especially given some of his, conservative views that he's come out with. And a lot of his support base at the moment seems to be Republican men. Even his support among Republican women has dropped in the past year. So it's unclear how he's going to get the support of people, let's say, in the middle, or even people among the Democrat Party that are not satisfied with the current party.
Fascinating stuff, Gas. Yeah, and I get the sense we're going to be talking about this again many times. All right, we'll leave it there. But great to have that.
Yeah, she's smart. That's what I'm saying. Smart little chick. Because first of all, I was like, man, who the hell is this chick? But she just basically asked the question that I posed to you guys. Who the hell would follow him? But she said young Republican men. I mean, maybe. Trump was a different man when Gen Z grew up with him. This is why Vance is cool with him, because Trump was a different guy for the millennials. You got some millennials that really like Trump. I was in a room with Donald Trump a couple times. There was this product that he was endorsing back in the day. I should have known it was you ever had a friend, y'all? And they're friends, but this was fucked up. You ever had a friend that you link back up with, or you run into them and they're like, yo, you want to make some money? And it's like, yeah, of course I want to make some money. Then they end up taking you to a fucking seminar. You see, the one or two things. They end up getting your ass in church, or are you in a damn seminar? And I'm sitting up there, I'm like, this nigga done got me caught up in a damn seminar. Nigga, by the time I left that seminar, man, them niggas done convinced me. I'm like, fuck, how am I gonna sell these damn cable boxes? So I ran into Trump one time. I'm not sure if he was endorsing it, but he was there. And it was for Motor Club America. If y'all don't know what MCA is, bruh. And then the second one was this other company that was supposed to be like this big cable service provider called ACN. Hold on, let me see if I could hold on. I wonder if it's gonna affect my queue. Cause I got a queue going on here, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go here. Go here. Look, here it is. Oh, look.
There are a few things a company must have in order for me to believe in it, and ultimately for the company to be a success. A great product, an effective business model to get that product to the people, sound leadership, and a vision for the future. ACN has all of these things and more.
People be thinking I'm lying. It seemed like when Trump became the president, he became more diabolical because his voice was different. Hold on,
ACN continues writing history with its partner in success.
ACN is still around? What the hell? Oh,
Donald J. Trump.
Okay.
Long before he was a presidential candidate, businessman Donald Trump endorsed products and companies. One such company is called ACN, which sold long-distance phone services and video phones.
I've been working with ACN for a few years now. Since that time, I've developed a great relationship with ACN, and the more I learn about them,
it was this millionaire I met named Mr. Benjamin.
I see incredible potential in the things they're doing now.
Trump even featured the company on his show, Celebrity Apprentice. ACN is described as a multi-level marketing firm, which means you buy in for $499, recruit others to buy in and sell, and you get a percentage of their income. Trump started endorsing the company some 10 years ago.
You don't really know what you're getting into when you're going in there.
Apollo Rodriguez bought in, lured in part by the Trump name. Now he wishes he hadn't. He says he eventually lost $30,000 to $50,000. That mid-six-figure income he was led to believe would be his never materialized.
I thought that it was an ingenious...
I was just about to say, what the hell happened to ACN? This would have been me if I ran it up, y'all.
Thing that the owners of ACN, to bring somebody like that who's a businessman, successful, kind of the role model in business of success, to get people to get more inspired to do this. Trump is there for the money. He sees an opportunity.
Yeah, he was just a face.
He uses his brand.
It was a big pyramid scheme. Now let me tell y'all something about pyramid schemes, right? Shit, in case you find yourself in one. Let me tell y'all how to navigate a pyramid scheme. You can make a lot of money with the pyramid scheme. You just got to get in early and get out. And then get on the next pyramid scheme and the next pyramid scheme. Or mix them together. You know, if you get one group of people doing ACN, have them also doing Avon soaps with you and stuff like that. Y'all will forever be rich. But if somebody gets lazy with one of them, you know, with one of those items, then they ain't gonna be rich. You know, pyramid schemes, there's nothing wrong with a pyramid scheme. You just got to be early. You got to get in early. If you see there's a whole bunch of millionaires running around there, you weren't in early. Those millionaires that you see, they got in early. You know? Yeah, you can't get you're not going. You got to be at the top of the pyramid. You know, you can't be at the bottom of the pyramid. You know, more of a socialist framework. Okay. Party said, "What the helly? What the hell, Fitzgerald?"
According to this federal disclosure report filed by Trump as part of his presidential bid, he was paid $450,000 a year by ACN for at least 3 years. The company has so far successfully defended itself against allegations here and abroad that it's nothing more than a pyramid scheme. Author and critic Robert Fitzpatrick, who describes himself as a multi-level marketing expert, says Trump owes a lot more than his name to ACN's independent contractors.
He appeared to be endorsing it blindly and without knowledge of it, or he had the knowledge of it and did it anyway for money.
Trump told the Wall Street
I think it
Journal,
was the second
I
option.
do not know the company. I know nothing about the company other than the people who run the company. I'm not familiar with what they do or how they go about doing that, and I make that clear in my speeches. But Trump seems to be quite familiar with the company based on this ACN-produced video.
A solid track record, success stories, a strong product people really
I mean, he's
need and
reading a
want,
script.
and a clear plan for the future. ACN has all of these things.
So how does Trump explain
That's
that
how they
apparent
get you to buy
contradiction?
in.
Good.
Cause when I got there, and I saw Donald Trump, I'm like, oh shit, this nigga taking me somewhere serious. Why you think I was so focused on selling cable boxes? I'm trying to figure out who the hell I can sell cable boxes to. I started thinking of all the old women I know in my neighborhood. I'm like, man, listen. I'm about to find me some old women and sell this shit. Miss Odell about to have the most flyest internet on the fucking block. Fuck you talking about? I'm about to find every single old woman I know and put that mouthpiece on that ass. You know, then you're supposed to like build up like a team of people, right? As I said, you're supposed to build up like a team of people, teach them what you know, and then you get like reoccurring revenue. You get like commission. Now I done forgot the name of the word. Where it's like legs, you build the legs and stuff like that. Residual income. My bad. That's what it's called. Residual income. So shit. I was about to be a cable box selling motherfucker. And then you know what? They had this card. And it was like this black card, and you could buy everything on it. And every time you sell something, it just goes straight to that card. And it loads it up. And then you get like these extra points on the side, and you can win like a Bentley and all kinds of stuff. It was like a whole catalog they give you. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, shit, I'm about to sell the shit out of these damn cable boxes and this damn phone service. Because it's like cable box and phone service and all of that stuff together. Shit.
Question. His representatives have ignored.
Yeah, that's a celebrity at work, basically, yeah.
His position.
Because when I went in there, I was like, shit, what is he doing here? I'm like, oh, damn.
For one, isn't buying anything Trump is selling.
That's what he does. That's how he makes money. He endorses like Trump Vodka, which was horrible. Trump University, which I don't know what's going on in there either. ACN, he endorsed that. He endorses lots of things.
So, one question. Have these controversies hurt Trump's presidential bid? So far, the answer seems clearly no.
Well, he had to pump and dump, for lack of a better word, a bunch of businesses. He can't be the president and be running The Apprentice and stuff like that. And then people now, because social media is here, are acting like at one point they didn't heavily lean on celebrities to sell products. You know? Like, they'll lean on Kai Cenat today to sell a product, but that shit is bunk. It's bunk. But he don't know. He's there to get his check. But then again, that's why you gotta not, tie your name to everything because your likeliness. But when you on the level of a Donald Trump, like, come on, dog. You can do but so much wrong. So some people that y'all see running around hating them, just ask them a question like, hey, did you go to an ATN seminar in the past? Okay, this is probably why you hate them. You said, hell yeah, COVID totally turned the light on for everything. Yeah. Even for the Zillennials. It's going to be hard for America to put the toothpaste back in the tube. That's what AI is for. America during COVID literally admitted to the world they didn't know what the hell it was going to do. You know? But I ain't gonna lie, people's memory is so selective. COVID is a blur now. But when we were going through COVID though, y'all, I was the king of COVID on YouTube. I got us through COVID. Third Shift got a lot of people through COVID. But when we were going through COVID, y'all, it seemed like it would never end. Now people don't give a fuck. People done forgot. A motherfucking baby, a woman, and a damn bear can cough in y'all face, and niggas won't say shit. Back to normal programming. But it's something, nigga, if a monkey coughed in your face back in the day, bruh, niggas would go to war. You know? He said broke boys get a budget from the government bank, blow the bank on a Trump promo, sell 1,000 cable boxes by phone. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, the product seemed like it was good and legit. Even Trump was endorsing it. But it just even then I knew something was off. I mean, now I'm a lot older now, and I'm like, man, that joint couldn't sustain itself. That joint couldn't, I didn't have the vocals to say it back then. Because I was too busy not trying to sell that shit. I was convinced, but I'm like, I don't know. This shit don't seem like it will sustain itself. This is before shit was called a pyramid scheme. I knew it was a scheme, but then again, I didn't know if it was a scheme. I realistically was like, man, I should try to sell some of these cable boxes, bro. My job wasn't paying me that much. I realized I was fixing to leave my job. I'm like, man, you know what? Let me stay where the hell I'm at. I gotta reach out to my brother Ophis and see what he talking about, if he still fuck with that joint. I mean, I'm pretty sure he doesn't, but get it from him what actually happened. Whatever happens from now on is your fault. True. Forget if you want. You said women forgot what women were. Yeah, women was really trying to be submissive. These niggas here in the manosphere was like, didn't I tell you winter was coming? It's like, no, winter didn't come, but COVID did. And I do admit women were acting a little bit different during COVID. But so was everybody.
But he's running on his record as a businessman, as a deal maker, as being smarter than most politicians. And his critics say he's just smart enough to make money off of the...
I mean, Trump had the perfect exit up out of that shit. What are you gonna do? Yell at the president? Like, become the actual president. Who the fuck wanna be the president of your little rusty company? Become the president of the United States. Get the hell up out of that shit. You dig? Y'all hit the like button, support the show. Women forgot what women were. Hey, I agree. I agree. And it really wasn't 5 years ago. It was literally 2.5, 3 years ago.
The AI provision of this, there was a provision in the bill that was going to create a 10-year moratorium on states' ability to in any way regulate AI. And that is a very narrow, AI sounds a lot more narrow than it is. It would have meant anything almost algorithmic. Things like rent price fixing websites. I mean, a whole host of things.
Yeah, I remember you did say that. Yeah. You got to catch those y'all, when this stream goes off air, there's a playlist on my page. I will put it in the chat. Remind me, I'll copy and paste it and put it in the chat. Y'all, other than my music playlists, y'all got to catch up on them third shift playlists so you can hear everybody and how they, how they changed up, All right, give me 1 second. Hold on.
Would have been outside of the state's purview. That was voted out. Here's Steve Bannon with Mike Davis talking about this is quite a turnaround. The vote was something like 99-1 to strip it out of the bill. Now, Bannon's very excited because he really has a problem with folks like Elon Musk, because Elon Musk has a problem with him. And so this is part of this little intra-MAGA fight, I guess you could call it. Again, it's not ideological at the end of the day. It really is just which one of them wants to be closer to Donald Trump.
After midnight, they thought they had this one. At 4 o'clock in the morning, there was a 99-1 vote, which shows you no senator, when exposed, wanted to be near this thing. This is the kind of radioactive vote that they don't want attached to their, and the only guy that voted for is Tillis, who's leaving and needs a job as a lobbyist, obviously, with AI. It is the shift in this from actually being a done deal after weeks and weeks and weeks, that's how powerful the oligarchs are, to 99-1 against, 16, 17, 18 hours later. Walk us through that, sir.
Yeah, 10 a.m., this was a done deal for the AI oligarchs. They thought they were going to get 10 years of amnesty. They worked on getting a deal with Marsha Blackburn, who opposed them on this, and she's been a fierce warrior. I know she's going to try to come on your show after the vote. She's been great on that. She was able to work out because they thought this was just inevitable, so she was trying to cut her losses, and so she went from 10 years to 5 years, and there was some language that purported to protect kids, creators, conservatives from censorship. But as we pointed out on the show yesterday, that language was largely hollow. And so we went back to Blackburn. I worked very closely with Senator Blackburn's chief of staff all day, all afternoon, all evening. I'll give Katie Lane a shout out. She's one of my good friends. Her husband, Bill Lane, used to volunteer for the Article 3 project as a lawyer. Now he's a nominee to be a top Pentagon lawyer. I worked very hand in glove with Katie Lane and Grace and the War Room posse and Steve Bannon, and we worked with the senior members of the
He's already
House.
talking about more people than was necessary. I mean,
why he blinking like that
in the Senate to actually get the votes here? This sounds like a lot of of grandstanding. I think it was just because Ted Cruz wanted it so badly that everybody wanted to screw him over.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's not in there, but, the rest of the bill is an atrocity.
Absolute atrocity. Here is Scott Bessent, on with Brian Kilmeade, and he is pushing again. I mean, this is it's impressive how the Republicans hold on to this notion that if you cut taxes, you actually raise revenue. This was what George Herbert Walker Bush called 40 years ago,
not George
voodoo economics.
Walker.
This is what the people of Kansas had a firsthand experience with when Sam Brownback, the governor there, brought in Arthur Laffer of the Laffer curve to map out how they could cut taxes and raise revenue. And within 2 years, the Kansas had devastated their revenues so much by cutting taxes that a completely controlled Republican legislature voted to raise taxes. And yet, Scott Bessent still able to peddle this garbage. Now, to be fair, it's on Fox and Friends.
Taking advantage of the system. We're going to put in a work requirement, and we're just trying to get the levels back to where we were pre-COVID, which I don't think anybody disagrees with.
Elon Musk says this: it's obvious with this insane spending bill, increases the debt ceiling by $5 trillion. We live in a one-party country, the Porky Pig Party. Time for a new political party that actually cares about the people. And he's probably going to start one if this passes. What's your reaction? You guys famously tangled in the White House.
I admire Elon's leadership on rockets. I will take care of the fun.
Oh, is this the guy that was responsible for the black eye? Is this the guy that's responsible for the black eye? He was the one that gave him the black eye.
Finances.
So do you feel as though he says the $5 trillion added to the deficit? You don't agree?
Am I mistaken? But hasn't the last 6 Musk rockets exploded?
Yeah.
They
also, wasn't
all right, War Master kind of alluded to some of that stuff happening. I was kind of not trying to mention that, but okay.
Last one didn't even get off the ground and it exploded or something?
It would have been nice for him to have said this back when Doge was a thing too. Like, why are we trusting the rocket guy with this stuff?
All right, let's go back.
There you go. Oh, well, War Master showed up. I was just saying. Oh my God, he came out of nowhere. like a wrecking ball, he came out of nowhere. War Master fell out the clouds. Yeah. Shout out to... I was just about to say, yo, I was just about to say, yo, y'all have no idea. I was kind of holding back earlier. Shout outs to War Master in the building. Oh, shit. I was just saying, I was giving War Master props the whole time since the last show and this show about the rhinos and some of the stuff that we talked about. Then we got into Elon Musk. And I was just about to say, I was going to say there was some rockets that I said earlier, there was some rockets that kind of failed. But there was some cool shit that I saw too, which I saw that tower grabbed that rocket and hugged it. You know? And I was just telling y'all that War Master did kind of allude that some of the rockets failed, but a lot of them, they hit their target. War Master was watching all of it. He caught all of it. And the ones that blew up and failed also, he didn't really make a big deal out of it. It was just like a, you know, that's trial and error. You some rockets win, some rockets don't. You know? As long as it don't end up like the Challenger, rest in peace, you're good. But War Master just dropped out of the clouds. He said cutting taxes is never bad. What the fuck? This guy is a retard. Oh, you should have seen the other lady, War Master. I don't know if you just got in the building, but it cut off on the last show. We were going, there was this lady, which I'm pretty sure was a leftist. And I ain't gonna lie, she made some good points. You know. But shout outs to War Master in the building. Link. War Master dropped another link. Shout outs to Link. Dropped another link. And he said he wanted to do another movie night when we get the chance. And the movie was it's about Donald Trump. It looks pretty good. It's about Donald Trump. And this is funny because I started listening to The Art of the Deal the other day, audiobook. It's on YouTube, by the way. I might post it in the Discord. But he said it'll be cool for me to break it down and go over it. And he also said that it'll be dope to see you also chime in on it. All right, so let me catch up. War Master came in like a wrecking ball. He said this dude is a retard. He said the people that want to make you poor are telling you that if the government takes more of your money, we'll be all right. For fuck's sakes. So War Master, what do you give the big, from what you know? Because we and we're still going over it. We did we just watched a video of people saying what the big beautiful bill is. What is your thoughts on the big beautiful bill? And if it was on a scale of 1 to 10, from what you know now, because we'll go over this a little bit later, what would you give the big beautiful bill on a scale of 1 to 10? You know. All right, let's see. Let's see what this guy says.
I mean, because Basant's about to make his pitch about how this is like, by cutting, we're actually going to get more revenue. Basant also seems to have picked up a Grecian formula habit too. Have you noticed that, or is that
a Grecian formula?
Yeah.
I'll have to ask you about that later.
And they're weird too, because they're trying to make it seem like Elon Musk is a damn crackhead. Like he's a cluck. Hold on. God damn it. I knew they were going to do that. I knew this damn Q was going to fail me. That's why I clicked it. See? I'm smarter than you think, y'all. Oh, shit. This was it. Okay, this is what we were looking for. You got a black guy. Oof. This looks like it's going to be good. War Master says SpaceX had 2 unsuccessful launches. The other 4 did what they were supposed to do. The left are trying to rewrite history. Absolutely. Even with a black eye.
Hi, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk just dropped the biggest political bombshell of the decade. Elon Musk...
Oh, these Indians are going crazy, y'all. Humongous hummus. These Indians are going crazy.
Just spoke about launching a 3rd political party in the US.
Elon threatened to launch a 3rd political party named the America Party.
If Trump's reconciliation bill passes, Elon Musk believes the America Party is going to get formed.
I was about to say something about this too, Anthony. Shout outs to Anthony Southeast. I was about to be like, man, y'all got to watch out for them Indians. They feel some type of way about South Africans for some weird reason.
Day in opposition.
Elon Musk polling his social media followers, asking if it's time to create a new political party
that actually represents the 80% in the middle.
Now, the reason why this is a bombshell is because Elon is going head on with the
War Master says, I know very little about the big beautiful bill. There's going to be a lot of waste in the bill. The rhinos make a lot of noise when they vote with conservatives while spending money like retards. Yeah, I feel you. I skipped over a video. Maybe you might have to go over it on the next show There was a video here with a guy saying he read all 200 to 300 pages of the Big Beautiful Bill. 300 pages. God damn.
Most powerful politicians in America. And yes,
shout outs to D-Rock then, because we pointed out how, I was about to say Joe Biden said that he was going to get rid of people's college debt and loans. And D-Rock said he ran on that too.
that includes the President of the United States himself.
And is it time for a new political party?
Elon Musk and Donald Trump are fighting again.
Elon Musk believes the America Party is going to get formed the next day in opposition.
And the reason why it's a nightmare for the Democrats and the Republicans is because if there's one man on earth who has the influence, money, and the die-hard following to break the two-party system, it's Elon Musk.
Not really. Not really. Donald Trump showed that money really can't beat power. I mean, yeah, money can't beat power. Not really. Even the people that was on that was on Musk's side because they wanted to see Trump get exposed, they ran back to Donald Trump's side. Once they realized Elon Musk wasn't going to stand on what he was saying.
If there was anyone who could do it, that would
even with his black eye
be someone like Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is one of the world's richest men and famous around the world.
The future is gonna be amazing!
Think about it. This is the same guy who built rockets when NASA said he couldn't. The same guy who made electric cars cool when Big Oil laughed at his face. And now, Elon is coming for Washington's oldest monopoly, the political power itself. But the challenge is that no third party has succeeded in the US in the past 160 years.
The last time a third party won the US presidency.
Oh man, you know what I saw the other day, y'all? I gotta go find it and send it to myself because I don't think I could find it on. Well, I probably could, but I got like a lot of rare footage of 9/11. That's kind of not what I wanted to talk to y'all about. But you know what I saw? I was watching Saddam Hussein get sentenced. They did Saddam Hussein dirty. You know? Some people, and I grew up thinking this way. I'm not even gonna lie, y'all. I kind of grew up more so on the Democrat side. I hate to say it. I think that's one of the rites of passages in Black America before you become like a man, you know. I don't blame Black American kids growing up Democrat because guess what? You fall into the BS of what your family falls into. But when you get older and you get a little bit of brains, in hindsight, it's like, dang. You know, once I was a teenager, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, yeah, this is dumb. You know, once 13, 14 kind of kicked in, I'm like, I'm watching all the, I don't know, man. I'm watching all these basketball players. As soon as they get some money, they kind of go Republican. And then, you know, George W. Bush. You dig? So, hey. But, I was watching Saddam Hussein get sentenced to death. And I ain't gonna lie, he was fearless. That man was a lion. You know? And I wanted to get y'all thoughts on it because I remember seeing somebody, you know, they weren't supposed to have a camera in there, but they did. I remember seeing him collapse on that stage and getting hung. And then I remember like somebody went into the room with his body and filmed that also. And I ain't gonna lie, that shit was gruesome. Like he had a big ass hole in the side of his neck. Like that was they put a big ass rope. I want you. I mean, if y'all into that nasty shit, that morbid ass shit, I want y'all to go find that shit. Them niggas put a fucking snake around that nigga's neck. That shit was a damn snake. That wasn't a rope. They gave that nigga the biggest rope. They put a snake around that nigga's neck. And I hate to say it. People said Saddam wasn't that bad. People were saying that Iraq hasn't been the same since. People were saying that the Iraqi people miss Saddam Hussein. They were saying that his own folks turned on him. I mean, you really can't go that far being a dictator. You know, you end up killing a lot of your own people, and then at some point you end up breaking a lot of war crimes. But I ain't gonna lie, you know, I wanted to get on YouTube. That's on my bucket list this week. Or today is Sunday where I'm at. And I wanted to watch a documentary. If you guys are down for that, I'll watch it with you guys. I wanted to watch a documentary of Saddam Hussein. You know, just to you know, because I was a little bit young. I didn't really care about politics as much at that time, you know, but just to have a grasp on what the hell was going on. And I know you guys would be the perfect, you know, I might have to save that for movie night, or if we could watch it on YouTube and I pause and you guys chime in and I chime in and stuff like that, that will be a success, you know. You said third parties never work. Rhino vote like leftists and screw up the Republican Party. Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I would. That's you did say that during the election year that rhinos help screw up the votes and confuse a lot of people. You know, during elections. The conservatives are not leftists. We don't care how famous Elon is. He has to get America to understand his point of view. Remember Ross Perot? You said he was right and failed spectacularly. That's a big word, War Master. Spectacularly. But yeah, did I say his last name correct? It sounds French. W the Decider. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find it. Saddam was like Allahu Akbar. He was like, the guy was full of shit. War Master said Saddam gassed the Kurds, and they used to show dead children on the news. Yeah, he did some heinous stuff. You know, I'm not even going to speed past that. But then again, I didn't know until I started seeing some of the stuff. You know, we laugh and sit around and you know, make jokes, you know, about Donald Trump. Trump killed a lot of people too. I'm like, dang, you go from being a billionaire to like commander in chief, and when you up there, you know, you got to make decisions. And unfortunately, people's lives are behind those decisions. But if you don't make certain decisions, unfortunately, people's lives are behind, you know. So it's like you never win. Even with a black eye. You said look up Chemical Ali. He followed Saddam's orders and used weapons of mass destruction on civilians. Got the nickname decades later. People say Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. What the fuck? Let me look up Chemical Ali. All right. Let me let this play real quick. We're going to look up Chemical Ali real quick.
Presidency was in 1860. In theory, a gazillion political parties can get on the ballot, and most of these efforts flame out spectacularly without leaving any real mark on the system.
The system is set up to crush you.
Third-party candidates have no chance.
Oh, shit. Live here on Player Talk Radio. Trump accepts Elon Musk's apology. Hold on. This is live.
Well, I am doing this for the American people. I'm doing this against the most powerful lobby in the world, probably the drug lobby, drug and pharmaceutical lobby. But it's one of the most important orders, I think, that's ever been signed, certainly with regard to health care or health in the history of our country. And it's an honor to be a part of it. And I'd like to ask Robert F. Kennedy to say a few words, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an extraordinary day. This is an issue that, I grew up in the Democratic Party, and every major Democratic leader for 20 years has been making this promise to the American people. This was the fulcrum of Bernie Sanders' runs for presidency, that he was going to eliminate this discrepancy between Europe and the United States. But as it turns out, none of them were doing it. It's one of these promises that politicians make to their constituents, knowing that they'll never have to do it. And the reason they'll never have to do it is because they know that Congress is controlled in so many ways by the pharmaceutical industry. There's at least one pharmaceutical lobbyist for every congressman, every senator on Capitol Hill, and every member of the Supreme Court. By some estimates, 3. Pharmaceutical companies, the industry itself spends 3 times what the next largest lobbyist
You got something stuck in his throat.
Lobbying. So this was an issue that people talked about, but nobody wanted to do anything because it was radioactive. They knew you couldn't get it by Congress.
You sound radioactive.
We now have a president who is a man of his word, who has the courage. President Trump was taking money from the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave you $100 million. But he can't be bought, unlike most of the politicians in this country. And he is standing here for the American people. I don't know what.
Okay, that's what I was about to say. Something in his throat.
Lord Elizabeth Warren or Robert Reich, who are saying that President Trump is on the side of the oligarchs. There has never been a president more willing to stand up to the oligarchs than President Donald Trump. And I'm very, very proud of you, Mr. President, for your courage, I'll say, because I don't want to be crude, your intestinal fortitude, your stiff spine, and your willingness to stand up for the American people. We have 4.2% of the world's population. Our country represents 75% of the revenues for pharmaceutical companies. We spend in our country $1,126 per capita on drugs. In Britain, they spend about $240. They spend 1/5 of what we do. And this is true across Europe. And the drug companies, Europeans, if you ask them, it made no sense what they were saying. America has to pay for this innovation or it's not going to happen. What President Trump is saying to our European partners is you've got to raise the amount that you're paying for those drugs and pay for your share of the innovation. That the United States is no longer subsidizing that. If the Europeans raise the price of their drugs by just 20%, that is $10 trillion. That can be spent on innovation, and the health of all people all across the globe is going to increase because we're going to have better products. So I'm just so grateful to be here today. I never thought that this would happen in my lifetime. I have a couple of kids who are Democrats, are big Bernie Sanders fans.
I'm not gonna lie.
And when
I would, if I was one of them Kennedys, I would legally change my name because that name got a curse on it. If I ever knew a name that had a curse on it. Kennedy is a cursed name.
I told
And it's only happening because we have a president with the fortitude, the guts to stand up to the withering criticism. And
should be fun. I don't know. You'll maybe find reasons why it's not, but I can't imagine because we have a lot of great things happening. It's been a very strong week and a very strong weekend. Before we begin, let me say a few words about the historic events that took place over the last few days. On Saturday, my administration helped broker a full and immediate ceasefire, I think a permanent one, between India and Pakistan, ending a dangerous conflict of two nations with lots of nuclear weapons. And they were going at it hot and heavy, and it was seemingly not going to stop. And I'm very proud to let you know that the leadership of India and Pakistan was unwavering, powerful, but unwavering in both cases, and having these. They really were, from the standpoint of having the strength and the wisdom and fortitude to fully know and to understand the gravity of the situation.
Hey, War Master. Hey.
And we helped a lot. And we helped also with
it from both sides, Karma, CIA, and airplane.
Trade. I said, come on, we're going to do a lot of trade with you guys.
And sickle cell. I didn't know President Kennedy had sickle cell.
Guys, let's stop it. Let's stop it. Up. And they have. And they did it for a lot of reasons, but trade is a big one. We're going to do a lot of trade with Pakistan. We're going to do a lot of trade with India. We're negotiating with India right now. We're going to be soon negotiating with Pakistan.
Yeah,
and
India,
we stopped the nuclear conflict. I think it could have been a bad nuclear war. Millions of people could have been killed. So I'm very proud of that. I also want to thank Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Rubio for their work and efforts. They worked very hard on that. We also, as you know, created a situation where the Houthis, for the first time ever, have ceased firing, and they've let it be known that they're not going to be firing at American ships anymore, not going to be firing at Americans anymore. This was a heavy barrage that lasted for approximately 50 days. And as you know, they've been in war essentially for forever. But over the last 10 years, they've been very difficult for other countries. Nobody was able to do what we did. But they stopped, and we take their word for it. Their surrogates and them directly said, we don't want to do this anymore. And so we were satisfied with that. In addition, yesterday we achieved a total reset with China after productive talks in Geneva. Both sides now agreed to reduce the tariffs imposed after April 2nd to 10% for 90 days as negotiators continue on the larger structural issues. And I want to tell you that a couple of things. First of all, that doesn't include the tariffs that are already on, that are our tariffs, and it doesn't include tariffs on cars, steel, aluminum, things such as that, or tariffs that may be imposed on pharmaceuticals, because we want to bring the pharmaceutical.
Is it the plane crash or is it the conspiracies?
Businesses back to the United States, and they're already starting to come back now based on tariffs because they don't want to pay 25, 50, or 100% tariffs, so they're moving them back to the United States. I spoke to Tim Cook this morning, and he's going to, I think, even up.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. If he gave Elon a deal, he probably would want Elon to build Teslas in the U.S., which I think they do have a plan. But, you know,
his numbers, $500 billion. He's going to be building a lot of plants in the United States for Apple, and we look forward to that. I really do look forward to that. But the talks in Geneva were very friendly. The relationship is very good. We're not looking to hurt China. China was being hurt very badly. They were closing up factories. They were having a lot of unrest. And they were very happy to be able to do something with us. And the relationship is very, very good. I'll speak to President Xi maybe at the end of the week. We have some other things we're doing. But one of the biggest things that we're doing, and I don't know if people realize this, but we made a great deal with China, great trade deal, but it was a much bigger deal originally, and then they canceled it right in the last day. Some of you faces I remember were there when that happened. I remember you. And we had a deal where they opened up their country to trade with the United States, and they took that away at the last moment, and then I canceled the whole thing, and then 6 months later we ended up doing a smaller deal, but it was a big deal. It was $50 billion worth of product that they were going to purchase from our farmers, et cetera. And we agreed to that. People thought it was 15 because they were doing 15. We made it 50 because I misunderstood the 15. I said, you got to get 50. Because when I asked, if you remember the story, when I asked, what are we doing with them? My Secretary of Agriculture at the time, Sonny Perdue, said, sir, it's about 15 billion and we're asking for 15. And I thought he said 50. So I said, so they came back with the deal at 15. And I said, no way, I want 50. Because you said 50. They said, sir, we didn't say that. Anyway, bottom line, I said, go back and ask for 50, and they gave us 50. And they were honoring the deal, and we would call them up a lot for the corn and for the wheat and for everything. They were honoring the deal, and then when Biden got in, they no longer honored the deal. There was nobody to call. I would call on an average of once every 2 weeks to say, come on, you have to speed it up a little bit. And our farmers were doing great. I said to them, buy more land and bigger tractors, if you remember. That's what happened. But the deal was a very good deal. But the best part of the deal was that we opened up China. China agreed to open itself up to American business to go in. And it would have been a great thing, I think, for China. They would be able to see things that they haven't seen. They would be able to buy products that they have never been able to buy. Would have been great for American business. I think it would have brought unity between China, better unity between China and the United States. And the bottom line is that they canceled it the last day. We were all set to sign it, and then I went a little bit angry. I got a little angry. I said, they canceled the deal. The deal was done. It was all ready to be signed, and people went over. They came back to me, sir, they don't want to sign the opening up China. Well, the biggest thing that we're discussing is the opening up China, and they've agreed to do that, but it's going to take a while to paper it. You know, that's not the easiest thing to paper.
You said if 10 plus people get deleted around your family, the FBI should be tapping all of your phones. When 30 plus get ended around a particular family, the FBI says, where's Waldo? Right. Right. And then look at Marilyn Monroe. And then look at Kennedy. You know.
But that's the single, I think, to me, some people would disagree. Some people would say we're getting a lot of money with tariffs or whatever. But, you know, especially when you add what we already have. Because remember, we're already getting the 50% on steel and different things. That's not included in these numbers. So you can add that. But the biggest thing to me is the opening up. I think it would be fantastic for our businesses if we could go in and compete.
Shout out to everybody here. Please hit the like button.
And compete with China. It would be a lot of jobs for China. It would be, I think, at a time when they can frankly use the jobs. And that's what we're talking about. So that's a very, very important element to add. So when Scott, I watched him speak the other day, and I think he didn't want to say it, but I said, it's okay to say it. Look, if we don't get it, we don't get it. But if we don't get it, it won't be a positive thing. But if we do get it, I think it's maybe the most important thing to happen. Because if you think about it, we opened up our country to China. They have very few restrictions. And they didn't open their country to us. Never made sense to me. It's not fair. And they've agreed to open China, fully open China. And I think it's going to be fantastic for China. I think it's going to be fantastic for us. And I think it's going to be great for unification and peace. China will also...
Russia don't really like that, but guess what, y'all? I'm on the ground here. China don't really fuck with Russia like that. I know I've told y'all before, but I ain't gonna say it again. China really don't F with Russia like that. They don't.
but he learned it in about 2 hours. And he's been fantastic. So I want to just thank Steve. But they're going to be releasing Edon in about 2 hours from now, or sometime today, let's say. And again, they thought he was dead just a short while ago. His parents are so happy. They're so happy.
Yeah, what the hell happened? Please hit the like button. Shout outs to the new people coming in the building. Please hit the like button and support the show. Please hit the Cash App. Please hit the PayPal. Please support the show. We're actually going on our 9th hour because the last show was like almost 5-6 hours. We're going on our 9th hour marathon show this weekend. Happy 4th of July. Shout outs to War Master in the building. Happy 4th of July weekend. I don't know. Maybe sometime, maybe later on today, honestly. You never know. We're going to be doing another, movie night. And we're going to go over, maybe it's only fitting to do it. We're going to go, we did She Hates Me, which was a pretty good movie. It was a weird movie, but it was an interesting movie. We're going to be going over a Donald Trump biography / documentary. That might be fitting for 4th of July weekend. So it will be Monday for me later on today or tonight. And Saturday for you guys. Let me know if that's what you guys would like. Definitely please hit the like button. Support the show. It's Player Talk Radio. Y'all think we should do the Donald Trump documentary later on today or tonight for you guys? Let me know. But it might be Sunday morning for you guys. Or I got to figure it out. I'll be forget. I don't know. The time is off. All right. War Master said, Kuda, China uses Russia. Water is water is wet. You gotta put an H in front of that W. Water is wet. True.
Out of fentanyl. So there's a big incentive for China to stop, and I take them at their word. They're going to work on that, I think, very hard. And one thing, when they work on something, they get it done. So now I'm about to depart on a historic
I would say they might also use us too to invade Taiwan.
visit. Some of you are going with us to, as I said, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates.
Oh, he's gonna be
Before
close.
I do, I'll sign one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. I don't think there's ever been anything signed like this, certainly not with respect to health care, nothing even close. I'm delighted to be joined on this occasion by Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is doing a really good job, I have to tell you that. CMS Administrator, a friend of mine, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who is an amazing guy. You know, I was telling Bobby before, Oz had a very successful show, but it hurt his reputation.
Oh,
Because
the
when you're in
same
show
Oz.
business,
Okay, I
it
was gonna
hurts
say,
your
is that
reputation a
Dr.
little
Oz?
bit. It's good for you. It's good for you, but in terms of professionalism and being a doctor,
It
it sort
is
of hurts
him.
your
Yep.
reputation. This guy went to the best schools, was the best. I mean, top of the line. Then he did a television show, became
Yeah, the television show kind of watered his credentials down.
a success. Made a lot of money, all that stuff, but it sort of hurt him. And you know who I compare that to? I hate to say this, but a special woman, Jeanine Pirro. She was the toughest, smartest DA, maybe in our countries, in our cities and states history, New York. She was really tough, really sharp. Then she did a show, and people didn't think of her quite the same way. She
Right.
became more of an entertainment person, like Oz. Oz is not an entertainer. He's not really an entertainer, if you know the real story. And she isn't either. She is unbelievable. She was one of the strongest district attorneys in the history of New York. Highly respected, very tough.
He said China buys a few Russian fighters just to build crappy copies of them. China blows balls, engine makers.
Went after
Yeah, they make good.
the drug
I
dealers
would say
at
good,
a
but
level
they
that
make
you don't
knockoffs.
see today anymore. And hopefully she's given up a tremendous She's leaving the number one show on cable television, one of the number one shows on television, period. The Five, but they've got great people left behind, but she was a big part of it. And so I equated to that. Jeanine Pirro is unbelievable. FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary, with a reputation that's second to none, and the job he's doing already has been fantastic. Thank you, Marty. And Director of National Institute of Health, Jay Bhattacharya, who has been, as you know, from Stanford, so highly regarded, and have all been working with us very hard on this. And the question...
I gotta be fucking crazy flying Air Force One over to Qatar, thinking somebody ain't gonna shoot y'all down.
They would ask, being a little bit new to the government aspect of it, is why doesn't somebody fight the drug price situation, meaning equalization? There's a term, it's called equalization. Nobody wants to mention that term. And I'm not knocking the drug companies. I'm really more knocking the countries than the drug companies, because they're forced to do things. But the drug lobby is the strongest lobby in this country, they say, the drug lobby. It's between that and lawyers. And they have a lot of power. But starting today, the United States will no longer subsidize the health care of foreign countries, which is what we were doing. We're subsidizing others' health care. Countries where they paid a small fraction of what, for the same drug, that what we pay many, many times more for. And will no longer tolerate profiteering and price gouging from Big Pharma. But again, it was really the countries that forced Big Pharma to do things that, frankly, I'm not sure they really felt comfortable doing, but they've gotten away with it, these countries.
Shout outs to War Master dropping the Q and sponsoring today's show, dropping the Q.
More. Wendy?
Thanks, Chuck. We're standing here in front of the Olympic Liquor Store in Queens, where scores of African Americans have been lined up for hours. We spoke to a few of them earlier. Ladies, may we get a word?
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. With your broke ass.
Shout out to War Master dropping the Q. $20 on the Cash App as always. Thank you so much for supporting Player Talk Radio. War Master says the 4th of July means 4 hours of Xbox.
You're a victim.
Here we go, CSI. You're a victim. I was just saying earlier, I figured out a way how to play Steam on my MacBook for a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna work. I might have to use a tablet, but I can't play the game I wanted to play and show y'all. It's called Jack Orlando, which I did a funny. I always think about Chris G when I say this, because like it had that saxophone in the background. Every time I think about Chris G, he said, "Kuda, you ain't shit for that saxophone." But it's this game called Jack Orlando, where you play as this horrible detective that you know what I'm saying, that got basically he got framed for murder, and they actually let him go, so he has to go around and solve this murder case. And while he's going around solving this damn murder case, he's committing more murders. Not even more murders, but more crimes. Like, he's beating up black dudes and shit and all kinds of stuff. It's just a funny game. But there's these guys that's on the internet that got like a funny ass commentary on the game, and it's actually pretty funny. He's like, hey, can I borrow your cranking hand? You just gotta know the game. It's a game that I played as a kid. It was just a fun game. And I bought it like 2-3 times in my life, and I can't believe they had it on Steam. So, you know. But guess what? I know, right. No, I let me see the name of this website. You probably already know it too. and you just sync your Steam account with it, and you can play it. But guess what? I can play Persona 4. So I'm gonna see if I can Bluetooth my Xbox controller and see if I can play Persona 4. So look, it says Mac compatible games only. Not all Steam games are available on Mac iOS. You can play games specifically that support Mac iOS. I just wanted to be able to catch some gameplay for you guys, right? While I'm saving up to get this Xbox, right? So popular Mac games is Stardew Valley. I don't know what that is. Hades. I don't know what that is. Terraria. That's a cool name, but I don't know what that is. I heard of Civilization, and this looked like 6. Cuphead, I know about Cuphead. That's a side scroller, and it looks cool. And then I don't know about Hollow Knight. But to be able to play Mac games, because I did have on my old iMac, I had it's called Parallel, I think, where it's basically Windows on Mac. So I would basically have to go to Parallels and then download Steam on Parallels and then play the game on Parallels. But it's like they charge you monthly to have Windows on your Mac. So I said, nah, hell no. You know. But yeah. So there's this place called GE or GeForce Now. And I can play Persona 4 Golden on it till I get the Xbox back and then play Persona on that. You know, we got to get War Master into Persona, y'all. So I'm going to be spending the end of summer and all of fall getting War Master into Persona. You know, War Master don't play like anime / kind of cartoonish type games, but that's going to change. Okay? Shout outs to War Master. War Master said Trump told a story about Air Force One. They flew with all the lights off. Cool story. Air Force One is cool. I gotta do my research on it because all of them are tricked out. And I know there's like guys like yourself, War Master, that's in the planes. Because I'm in the planes too, low key. But I kind of been falling off on my plane game. But all of there's like Air Force One connoisseurs out there. Because all the Air Force Ones are different. And they're all tricked out. You know, they got flares on them just in case somebody shoots a missile at them. I'm not sure if it got a gun on it, you know, but it's maneuverable, you know. But then again, you never know. All kinds of high qualified pilots crash and do all kinds of buffoonery in the air. But hey, visual flight rules only, y'all. You said, I know how to play Steam machines. Ditch the Crapple machine. Yeah, that's one of them. I'm trying to get. I'm absolutely trying to get another laptop too, which is about the same price as the Xbox, but it'll be a PC. That way, I can use Microsoft Excel, you know, and learn how to read spreadsheets better. You said Civilization 7 was supposed to be good. Okay, then I think it is 7. The V in the 1 is 6, or is I think that's no VII is 7. Roman numerals, y'all. Yeah, just buy a real computer. Absolutely. Yeah, no more mistakes this time around. I like Civilization. I like those type of games. You know what game I used to play and I miss playing those games and it's probably actually dope now? If I go look for it, Roller Coaster Tycoon. Laptops are trash, but oh, are they convenient.
European Union, yes. Again, because it's a much smaller population than when you think of the whole world. So
we have a black guy.
Basically, what we're doing is equalizing. There's a new word that I came up with, which I think is probably the best word. We're going to equalize, where we're all going to pay the same. we're going to pay what Europe's going to pay. We're going to all pay. Now, there may be some countries in dire need, and I would be willing to sacrifice that and help them. But it's called Most Favored Nation. We are going to pay the lowest price there is in the world. We will get whoever is paying the lowest price, that's the price that we're going to get. So remember that. So we're no longer paying 10 times more than another country. Whoever is paying the lowest price, we will look at that price and we will say that's the price we're going to pay. Most favored nations, that's what it is. One breast cancer drug costs Americans over $16,000 per bottle, but the same drug from the same factory, manufactured by the same company, is 1/6 that price in Australia and 1/10 that price in Sweden. 1/10 for the identical product. A common asthma drug costs almost $500 here in America, but costs less than $40 in the United Kingdom. So $40 in the United Kingdom, which is where this gentleman told me he paid a small amount for his shot.
Real-time strategy, RTS.
But think of that. So $40 versus $500 here. That's
like
not
a
even better. Much
civilization
worse
game,
examples.
right?
And the weight loss drug, Ozempic, costs 10 times more in the United States than in the rest
I better stay away from Ozempic.
of the developed world. 10 times more. Why? Why? What did we do? Suckers. But we never had a president that had the courage to do this. And nobody knew the system.
Most presidents ain't going to look into that stuff.
Like I do. I mean, I've gotten to know this system so well. And I don't think it's fair that it benefits Obamacare. Obamacare is a failure. It's not a good health care. It works. I made it work. I had an obligation to make it work, or an obligation to let it die. I chose that we had to make it work. I had to make it as good as possible. And I had a choice. I could have let it fail or make it as good as possible. As good as possible means it was still not very good, but it survived. And we did the right thing. But this makes everything work. And I don't want to have a bad form of health care work because of the fact I was able to cut drug prices by 80 or 90%. So we're going to maybe come up with something. I think this gives the Republicans a chance to actually do a health care that's much better than Obamacare and for less money, which if you guys would work on that along with Congress. But I do want to say that Democrats could have done this a long time ago. They have fought like hell for the drug companies, and they knew they were doing the wrong thing. And it's going to be very hard. I was just telling the leader and the speaker that it's going to be very hard for the Democrats to vote against the one big, beautiful deal. The greatest tax cuts in history, greatest everything, but now you have the big drug prices because that's going to be included. It makes that whole situation different from a scoring standpoint. I just told them, I called them up about this. I said, I'm going to do something that's going to be very monumental, and you're going to be scoring. You better tell your people that this is going to score really well, and then add hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs to your list also. But as big as the tariffs are, this is something that really hits quickly. 5 years ago, I signed an executive order to confront this disaster, but only confront it in a minor way. It was a good confrontation, but never to this extent. And it took people a little while to understand a very complicated system. But Joe Biden, without any knowledge of what he was doing, terminated the policy and then pretended to negotiate under a new system. And then you take a look, 5 out of the 10 drugs that he negotiated are now over 200% more expensive in America than the rest of the world, and far more expensive than when he even got involved. Much more expensive than when he got involved. Joe Biden's plan was as you know, because you wrote about it, you don't say it very loudly, but it was a very big failure, was his whole presidency. First, I'm directing the U.S. Trade Representatives and Department of Commerce to begin investigations into foreign nations that extort drug companies by blocking their products unless they accept bottom line and very low dollar amounts for their product, unfairly shifting the cost burden onto American patients. And we'll be taking a look at that very strongly. The biggest thing we're going to do is we're going to tell those countries, like those represented by the European Union, that, that game is up. Sorry. And if they want to get cute, then they don't have to sell cars into the United States anymore.
Damn.
It's a very big subject. And they won't get cute, because I'll defend the drug companies from that standpoint. They were given a price by the European unions and other countries. This is what you do. This is what we're going to pay. We're not going to pay any more. Let America pay the difference, because there was a big shortfall. Let America pay it. And that's what we did, but we're not doing it anymore. Next, my administration will secure what we're calling most favored nations drug pricing. The principle is simple. Whatever the lowest price paid for a drug in other developed countries, that is the price that Americans will pay. And we're using the term other developed countries because there are some countries that need some additional help, and that's fine. I think that's very good. Some prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by 50 to 80 to 90%. Big Pharma will either abide by this principle voluntarily or will use the power of the federal government to ensure that we are paying the same price as other countries. To accelerate these price restrictions and reductions, my administration will also cut out the middlemen. We're going to totally cut out the famous middlemen. Nobody knows who they are, middlemen. I've been hearing the term for 25 years, middlemen. I don't know who they are, but they're rich. That I can tell you. We're going to.
Well, I mean, gig economy, micro. It's a lot of micro gigs and stuff. So there's, anytime you kind of micro certain things out, then yeah, you get a lot of middlemen.
To cut out the middlemen and facilitate the direct
Actually, the middleman is a millionaire strategy
of drugs at the most favored nation price directly to the American citizen. So we're cutting out, Bobby, the middleman. It's so important, right? You got to do that. They're worse than the drug companies. They don't even make a product, and they make a fortune. It's
Right.
very smart business people, that I can tell you. If companies make no significant progress toward most favored nation pricing, which we will insist that they do, so I think I'm wasting time talking about it. We're going to insist upon it. And we'll insist, and we're going to help the drug companies with the other nations, because those other nations do a lot of trading with us. They need our trade, just like China needed us very badly. They need us just as badly. We will do whatever we have to with trade, just like we did some great things with trade with India and Pakistan. It really helped the situation, very heated situation. Could have lost millions of people, more than millions. I mean, many millions of people. And they want to do business with America, but we never used our powers that way. We never knew how. We never had people that knew how to do that. We'll also open up America's market to safe and legal imports of affordable drugs from other countries, putting dramatic downward pressure on prices. And if necessary, we'll investigate the drug companies, and we'll, in particular, investigate the countries that are doing this, and we will add it onto the price.
Let me tell y'all something too about Donald Trump. What I actually like. He actually addresses the public almost every day or every other day. People was like, oh, Donald Trump is golfing while Texas is getting flooded up and shit like that. And it's like, well, what's he supposed to do? Stop water? What are you supposed to do? Just get in front of the water and say, water, stop? The man is on TV every fucking day. Whereas, like, presidents go sit down for like 2 days, 2 weeks, and a month, and you don't see him. You forget who the damn president. He's literally on here every day, actively talking to the people, letting y'all know like damn near play by play. Whereas all the other presidents, they go sit down. They resurface every other week. They're not even talking as much. He's literally talking every single day.
Pharmaceutical companies,
Oh
the
my
industry.
God, this nigga. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't do it. He make me want to go clear my throat. Hold on, y'all. Where the hell is this damn tab? I'm sorry, I can't do it. God damn.
Sell spends 3 times what the next largest lobbyist spends on lobbying. So this was an issue that people talked about, but nobody wanted to do anything because it was radioactive. You knew you couldn't get it by Congress.
What's going on, Ghost Man?
A president who is a man of his word, who has the courage.
Yeah,
President Trump
to that,
was
bro.
taking
I
money from
agree.
the pharmaceutical industry too. I think they gave you $100 million, but he can't be bought.
He did this already.
Unlike most politicians in this country, and he is standing here for the American people. I don't know what There's writers like Lord Elizabeth Warren or Robert Reich who are saying that President Trump is on this side of the oligarchs. There has never been a president more willing to stand up to the oligarchs than President Donald Trump. And I'm very, very proud of you, Mr. President.
This nigga almost severed his tongue saying oligarchs. All right. I ain't gonna lie. He making my throat hurt. Let me clear my throat. Oh. I hope you don't mind. Now, I found this. We might have to watch this, War Master. 48 minutes. We're going to watch, on the next show, we're going to watch this Iran-Iraqi war, Chemical Ali. I made sure to write this down. All right, now speaking of war and people blowing shit off, 4X done blew off his damn hand over the past week. Dang, where the hell did that shit just go? Poetic Flocko and a couple people was just talking about it. So we're probably gonna let me see. Yo, you're probably gonna end the show on this one. Cause we got a lot. We got a fully loaded clip on the next show, y'all. Hold on. We already did 10, going on 10 hours. Hold on, y'all.
We're back.
Now they say he got blinded also too. So I don't know why he had the fireworks in his hand. I think he tried to light it and then throw it. Stupid. Y'all niggas be having crack lighters and shit. You need to have an oven lighter. I don't know why you gonna play with your life like that. I don't trust no fucking firework. But there was a guy that commented on my YouTube short, which hit 32K, by the way, and still going. There was this white boy a couple of years ago, I think last year or this year. No, last year. The same thing happened to him. He blew his hand off. But he had a power glove. He was playing baseball. I'm going to start using that Final Fantasy music a little bit more. That boss music. I'm going to make that shit go viral. Then again, I got to be careful. But anyway. Let's go.
I don't have a name yet for this 4 Extra series, but this situation is so horrific, it could officially qualify as a true crime. I think I found a name for this series. I'm thinking Handful of Sparks, the tragedy in LA that blew us away. I'm thinking that's a pretty good name for the series, all right? But let's get back to where we left off in our last video. We discussed how 4 Extra blew his hands off playing with fireworks in LA. We all found out that 4Extra blew his hands off right around the same time when this picture right here began to surface.
Somebody else's face got blew up too.
By the way, this picture of 4Extra in the streets of LA holding 1.5 hands because the other lost a couple of fingers has to be one of the most iconic pictures in LA history. This is a picture that we will show our kids in 50 years. This is insane. It had to have been the most searched Googled picture yesterday in the world. This was big enough for Lamar Jackson to react to this. Lamar Jackson sent 4Extra his condolences. Dang 4Extra, y'all be safe with them fireworks. But with good news also come bad news, because when people went back to the scene that everything happened, they found 4Extra fingers still at the scene. I don't know what's going on in LA. I know there's like the trash men. They are currently on boycott in Philly, but that's not extending to the West Coast. It makes no sense and no sense whatsoever how something like this will happen at the crime scene. The police came. I would imagine they came because they had to have, come to see what was going on. If there's rumors of people faces being blown off and hands being blown off, and the police came and nobody decided, hey, bruh, let's pick up the fingers that got blown off this man. This is absurd. But also, too, with this picture, we also got an idea of how many fingers 4Extra's lost, and it's looking a lot worse than we originally thought. We were originally told that 4Extra...
They said he lost his whole hand, the palm. They said his palm gone.
4Extra only lost 2 fingers. That's not true at all. No, he lost a thumb and 2 fingers. So he has 2 fingers left. It's also been confirmed, and this is like the worst news yet. It's his right hand that was injured, his knockout hand, his dominant hand. To me, the ops is throwing a party right now, bro. They celebrating, homie. That they don't got to get terrorized no more by that knockout power, bro. They don't got to see that in the county no more.
Hey, Brodesky, tell Fo Nubs I challenge him to a handball match. Let's see who can juggle better in a real way.
This actually got Aaron the Plumber a great deal of backlash. People just didn't respect it. One, his fans ain't respected, and people who love 4Extra, like the gangbangers, they ain't respected. It came across as cruel and unnecessary. I believe people were giving him backlash because people understand the origins of Aaron the Plumber and 4Extra beef. Their beef is strictly content. Their beef is about a celebrity boxing match. They don't have real life issues. They don't have real life beef. They're not real life ops. 4Extra or Aaron the Plumber hasn't hurt the other person's family members or friends. So to do this in this situation where a real life thing happens with 4Extra, where 4Extra could potentially lose his life or have potential to lose his life over the situation, to mock it and laugh at it, it came across as cruel, and people just didn't respect it. His own audience was letting him know that what he was doing was wrong. One user is level to this game said, Aaron, I support your movement, but don't make fun of these situations because karma can come back in a real way. He's 100% right. A lot of y'all got to understand, bro, there's power that lie in the tongue, yo. What you say can literally determine your fate. Now, 1700 Mitch says, don't speak on bro because you were scared to fight him when he had 2 hands. I don't think like he was scared to fight him. I feel like if Aaron the Plumber and 4Extra was, let's say, at a bar and Aaron the Plumber felt disrespected, he would have probably fought 4Extra. But if you're 4Extra or if you're Aaron the Plumber and your momentum is predicated on people thinking you could fight and you're tough, then you really don't want to take a risky fight and kind of risk that, right? Kind of like how Flo Mayweather kind of picked.
Come on, man. A risky fight and risk that. Come on, man. Stop.
And choose his fights for over a decade because he don't want to risk losing and then losing the bag. Aaron the Plumber believes that he has the moral right to make fun of 4Extra in his hands because 4Extra is aligning himself with who he will call the devil, which is Adam 22.
Hey, you see what happens, Brodesky, when you do the devil's work? You know what I'm saying? You surround yourself with people like Adam 16 in a real way. Adam 16 probably gave him them fireworks in a real way. Brodesky, kabloom, this hand, there you go. Oh, whiskey, you're done for, Brodesky. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to be a big bad wolf, trying to bully people. You see how you did 607? Kabloom. Now he needs 4 extra fingers. You know what I'm saying? Call that man 4 nubs in a real way. Brodesky finna be walking like this.
We gotta shut down this narrative that 4Extra somehow was bullying 607 Ugg. That's not the case at all, bruh. 607 Unk went on like an interview spree talking about 4 Extra, calling him gay, and 4 Extra told him, "Hey, bro, if you do that again, I will sock you out." To me, if that's bullying, bro, then any and everything in the world is bullying, bro. If someone disrespects you and you respond back, you're bullied. Anyone who's smaller than you, they now have the right to say whatever they got to say about you, bro, and you can't do nothing about it if that's bullying. Yesterday, we covered how 607 Unk posted a couple of IG stories implying that he's responsible for 4 Extra losing his hand. On one story, he played a song called Voodoo Rav. Obviously, the devil emoji with the hand over the face is dissing 4 Extra. Then you have the skull with the blue rag on the skull. Him implying that he's responsible.
Oh man, I'm seeing this man's finger on the floor on Reddit. Oh jeez. I might have to post this. I seen this man's finger on the floor on Reddit. Ugh. It's dried up. Dang. What you call it? Talk about beating up 607 Unk too, but he ran up on him at no jumper, and he said it's a play. Seti Nash. Dang. Let me know if y'all want me to post this in the Discord. I'm gonna have to fire up this Discord. Let me know if y'all want me to post this in the Discord. I got a picture of I don't know if y'all into that type of shit. I might have to make a room for this. If y'all want to see what you call it, 4 Extra's finger that got blown off on the concrete here. Yeah, J. Cole. Cold World. Yeah, this is crazy. Warmaster said nope. Y'all not into the gory stuff? It's not even gory. There's no blood. It's just like a big piece of skin, and you could tell it was a freshly blown off, somewhat dried up finger.
But today, he also posted a couple more stories implying that he's responsible for 4 Extra's demise.
Like, it's so weird because I think his finger blew off to the point it didn't get not everything get a chance to have blood on it. You know what I'm saying? Externally. It's dry.
Posted this story earlier today. Do not touch my anointed ones. Do my prophets no harm. Psalm 105:15. He also posted this where, he posted like some type of voodoo eye of the pyramid thing implying that he's this mystical prophet and that 4 Extra is currently hurt because 4 Extra crossed him, which, some people, to be honest, like a lot of people believe this. I got a lot of flack by saying I don't really believe in voodoo like that.
607 4 Extra was like he got to catch the fade for no. Seti Nash was like he got to catch the fade for 4 Extra. They both Crips, so you never know.
But I do know a lot of people do, so I don't really want to encroach on anyone's belief. If you do believe in voodoo, please don't take it out against me because I'll say I don't. But a lot of people are saying, spiritual warfare is real and that, like, Unk is responsible for 4 Extra's demise. Rather, it's Aaron the Plumber or 607 Unk or the many other ops that's been celebrating. They've been under the understanding that they finally got rid of the 4 Extra problem, that they no longer need to be in fear of 4 Extra because 4 Extra has one hand now. But right when they thought they were safe, right when they thought they could get comfortable, from the dirt he arisen, 4 Extra has a message to the ops. And he sent that message through his baby mama. Damn. After the anesthesia wore off, 4 Extra's first message while being conscious was to his baby mama. And this message was still gonna be able to put hands on these ninjas. Right when y'all thought y'all was comfortable, right when y'all thought y'all was okay to live a life of peace without 4 Extra, it looks like those plans have been.
It's not really the gore, but yeah. This finger chilling here ain't worth it.
Spoiled, bro. 4 Extra is letting his baby mama know that the surgery was successful enough to where he is still gonna be able to knuckle up whatever hands he got left and put it on these ninjas. I know
these niggas are gonna get hit by a straight up wrist, and that hurts even worse.
The 4 Extra is still partially blind and he still got to heal up. So he probably ain't ready to catch fades right this moment. But when he heal up, oh, y'all in trouble. And apparently there are dudes who are stepping up in the LA gangbang world, in the LA streets, to take 4 Extra back fades until he heal up. So one dude in particular called Compton Rick Rock, right, an OG from Compton, he's seen that Aaron the Plumber was making...
This guy, I mean, I think he's annoying, but he kind of grew on me. This guy, War Master, he was on No Jumper. Oh man, wait till you, I want to get your thoughts on 607 Unk. You gonna laugh your ass off when you see 607 Unk. You said, I guess 4 Extra gonna learn how his forearms and elbows, I guess the wrist is horrible, y'all. I was just telling the nigga the other day, I'm like, bruh, a palm strike is way more dangerous than anything. Best believe that.
Fun to 4 Extra. And 4 Extra right now is going through surgery or just got done surgery. So Compton Rick Rock is now volunteering to fight Aaron the Plumber on behalf of 4 Extra until 4 Extra.
Aaron the Plumber, he did something that was very, very disrespectful yesterday. And I know a lot of people is going to look at it like, man.
No, 4 Extra is not the weird one. Hold on. Before I get up out of here, I got to show you 607 Unk. You are going, bro, War Master, you are going to laugh, bro. Cause he's a crazy looking dude. The dreads, the teeth, the fingernails. He been walking around with some voodoo stuff, and then he kind of be on some cluck shit. You know, he kind of be looking like he on crack a little bit. He got a lot of wisdom. He's funny. Somebody was just asking, is he going to come back to No Jumper? Because he was about to quit No Jumper because 4 Extra, this guy, not this guy on the screen, but 4 Extra literally threatened his life and was threatening to put that same hand on him. Now this week he ain't got that hand. That's
what type
crazy.
Of dude is you to kick a person when he down? Especially when you wasn't giving that kind of energy when old boy was 100% healthy. Now that he's not 100% healthy, you make a video clowning what they call clout chasing. Clowning a man about his injury, saying, do you want to play handball? It's like you really, really getting a kick out of it. And you saying this is all the get back from all the bullying that you did, 4 Extras?
He is not 30.
This is what you said. You calling him a bully because he wanted to get in the ring with you. And some way, somehow, you turned down the fade. Well, at least that's what I got. You turned down the fade. I'm pretty sure other people in the YouTube community can vouch for the same. But anyway, Aaron the Plumber, since you want to clout chase, and this is nothing against you. I don't have no personal vendetta to why I want to harm you outside of boxing. You know, you work out, I work out. I might be, well, I am a little older, I'm pretty sure, so you got the advantage on that. You in 100% shape right now, at least that's what it appeared to look like on the internet. I still got to get up in the gym for about 60 days. Yeah, I got to get up in there about 60 days. I'm ready right now. I'm about 70% right now. If I catch you with a good one, I'm liable to put you to sleep. So listen, man, I thought that other people, maybe from 4 Extras community, would have said, you know what, let me step up and take the challenge.
Aaron the Plumber needs to, listen, I'm going to tell you exactly how to train Aaron the Plumber. He needs to learn some fundamental boxing skills, then lose the weight. He too big to be boxing the way he trying to box. He gotta drop like at least like a good 15 pounds. And then spend a month boxing at that weight. And then he good to go.
We got other dudes
So he can get used to. He can get used to moving. Moving
Out
with
that
his new
area
body.
that's on the internet in the YouTube community, I thought maybe a 600 or something would have said, you know what, I'm a boxer. Aaron the plumber, I seen you over there training. You talking about the homie. I'd take that fade. But you know what? Since I haven't heard anybody step up to the plate yet and said I'd take that fade from Aaron the plumber for disrespecting 4 Extras last night, making a mockery out of somebody that's in that type of situation, I'd step up to the plate and I'd challenge you, Aaron the plumber. I done already hit a couple of people. I done hit Adam 22. I done hit a few more people. And hopefully Uncle Snoop could see this video and say, you know what, I want to invest in some of this also. Just something friendly. It ain't got to be like I say, well, we going to make videos. I want to unalive you, all that, and I poke fun at you. This going to be my only video about this. So if you want to accept the challenge, we could set something up. We could get in the ring. We could get in the backyard. We could put the boxing gloves on, or we could do it MMA style with the, the little, or we could just go bare knuckle. But let's go ahead and get that out the way. I take 4 Extras challenge. I take 4 Extra fade. You see, a lot of y'all.
I mean, who's to say 4 Extra was even gonna fight Aaron the plumber anyway? Who clout chasing now?
Making fun of dude. I seen a whole lot of people making fun of him.
Now, I got love for Aaron the plumber. He probably don't like me because I'm linked to No Jumper, but I got love for Aaron the plumber. Aaron, I'm gonna tell you right now, man, stay away from that man right there. Do not box Compton Rick Rock. Ignore it. Act like you never seen it. Just move on, bro. Bro, the first time I met Compton Rick Rock in person, pause, I shook his hand, and as a man, we always do the dap and bring it in to feel somebody's power. I shook like Big Bro's hand and it went in, and I felt some power. Pause. I felt power like I ain't never seen before. I felt power like I never felt before. The pressure
all right, you doing
from
too
that
much,
power,
Flacco.
bro, made me stumble a little bit, bro.
You
Discombobulated.
nullifying that pause, bro. You negating the pause, bro.
If I'm being as big as I am, got discombobulated by his power and his pressure, what do you? Oh, no. Aaron is a stocky guy, but Aaron ain't really that big. Aaron like 5'4", 5'5", 170, 180. You feel me? So if I stumble from that pressure, man, Aaron, you my guy, bro. Avoid this smoke, man. But also too, y'all who are speaking on 4 Extra all willy nilly, man, y'all gotta understand here, bro. 4 Extra got a lot of people behind them. They on the internet, but they not on the internet. Meaning they watching and listening, but they not about to reply or make no threats online, man. So y'all just be careful, bro. All right, count y'all blessings the way y'all distant, bro. Be careful, because there's a lot of people, man, who went.
Right, he should have just edit that whole segment out.
It's gonna be bad work, man. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, man?
All right, hold on. Before we go, I gotta show War Master 607 Unk. I'm just gonna type in 607 Unk. You know this gonna come up. All right, I'm gonna just let this go. Oh shit! I'm gonna just let an interview. I don't think anything about
now. Antonio Brown. You know, we seen the video of him jumping some guy, and then the video of him chasing after the guy. Man, he is now currently on the run and facing an attempted murder charge, and he's making videos out of the country looking like he's trolling the feds or the police.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
Antonio Brown, man, he went viral a few weeks ago for when he got jumped, and he was on camera, gunshots went off and everything. He's a football player. He's a Hall of Fame football player. One of the best wide receivers ever.
And he killed somebody and moved out the country?
No, attempted murder.
And he moved out the country?
He left the country. He's on the run.
Oh, he rich then. He good. Listen, when you kill somebody, you try to kill somebody, you got to go on the run then. Listen, if you got the money to run, I say run, but they're going to catch you anyway. They don't catch you. Because what you don't understand is it ain't the money. He have no ability to make money, so the money got to run out. Therefore, he got to get caught. Right? Because you got no ability to make money. The money you got now, you got to use it. Because money is fake. So he left the real money, which was his career when he ran. So therefore, whatever he running for, go catch him. So tell him to turn himself in.
So you think he should just turn himself in?
Yeah, why not? They don't catch you anyway. Why save yourself some money? At least you can use the money you got now for a lawyer. But when they catch your broke ass, you ain't gonna have money for a lawyer. He gonna go in there with a public defender. They gonna give him life.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to bail out now that he's went on the run. They're not going to give him bail now.
Yeah, and then he trolling, then he playing. And once you trolling, you play. That's what it is then.
Well, did you see that Fat Joe, the former assistant, filed a lawsuit?
What talking about Fat Joe old ass for?
Well, because his assistant filed a lawsuit against him.
They put people in the booty. All these old people in the booty. That's what they do. They been gay. They came up and did songs around Diddy, gang. Listen, let me tell you this. Old people freaky as shit. Well, old not freaky. That's why I'm a yonkle, gang. That's why these YBs don't want to come around. These old always try to. They freaky as shit, right? And I know that he really did get that young girl that booty because young girls' booties don't sit up like grown girls' booties. Right? So he did everything they say he did. But let me ask you this. What's wrong with it? Why you in Fat Joe business if he can pay for it, let him do it. Right? And only time tell.
I don't know why he's acting like that, but look, just look up 607 Unc. You gonna laugh and get educated and at the same time. You
They
gonna
can't
laugh and
extort
be
you no
entertained,
more.
man.
Don't nobody give a how many bitches he. But they give a well, you can't give them no money. So fuck Fat Joe. I don't give a fuck about Fat Joe. All the little hoe that he
thing.
Now, one of the things that
Fat Joe and that hoe. Fuck. We're fucking up with Fat Joe. Ain't nobody heard about Fat Joe in years, gang. Now how the fuck you just go? Everybody now want to be a rapist because Diddy a rapist. Okay, gang. Diddy the only rapist. It's only Diddy and R. Kelly. If I'm gonna fuck on Fat Joe, he ain't no real raper, gang. The real raper got 5 or 6 people talking about him. He got one person talking. We need more people, gang. Cause he got more.
So I personally think most of the lawsuit is bullshit. I don't
It
really
ain't
believe
bullshit, gang. Listen,
all that
if somebody
shit
say
they're
you
saying.
did something, you know you did it. Ain't nobody gonna lie on you.
Nah, people do lie on people.
Nah, ain't
bro.
nobody
Hell
lying,
yeah.
gang.
Hell yeah, they accusing him of some weirdo shit that is like beyond weird.
All right.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more.
So this what happens, y'all. They be doing like these interviews. Vlad be doing it too, but he get like his assistants and stuff to do it. They be doing like these interviews, and like they don't be in the rooms with him. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't be in the rooms with him and stuff like that. So, they be hearing the audio a little bit late and stuff like that because, a lot of audios and stuff like that. A lot of the audio has latency and shit. Latency issues. Anyway,
you're a victim.
Here we go, CSI.
It's Player Talk Radio. We are here. Did a little bit of 9 hours. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your 4th of July weekend. We went over Cassie. She's getting sued by, the gigolos. And one said that, she gave him chlamydia and he going after her money. We got, what else we did? We went over a lot. Trump, Elon. We went over the big beautiful bill. You know what I'm saying? We covered a lot, as we always do, I'm gonna start really scripting some of these shows, because a lot of people aren't. Then again, I'm gonna I'll do one show scripted and then I'll do one show like how we always do. how we kick it and talk about a bunch of different things. Let me give y'all the game, and which is the thing about Player Talk Radio. You need to be able to jump from topic to topic to topic, and also focus on certain topics. We do focus also, right? But I'm gonna say this, right? We talk about a lot of different things, and I don't know if you guys notice it by now, but notice it or not, but that makes you more worldly. You know, that makes you more worldly. Plus, most people can't even stick on topic anyway. You know, it makes you more worldly. Thinking individuals. You know, you're a thinking individual. You know, don't let people take that away from you. You know, most people don't think. You know, most people don't think. And now you got this whole AI thing going on. Like, wow, thinking is so. First of all, think about it. See what I did there? Most people don't think anyway. And now AI about to step in for them. Like, think about it. The irony of somebody that don't think. I forgot bigger shit than people have ever thought of. I forgot better shit than people have ever thought of. Sucks for me. But then again, like I said, most people don't think. But think about it. You're using AI because guess what? God forbid you have to think. Oh, thinking is so cumbersome. Then again, if you think about it, most people use AI because they don't think. It's a parallel between the two. Oh, if you think a lot and it bothers you and it's so cumbersome to dread the thought or brainstorm or try to come up with something, you use AI. If you can't think, well, guess what? You use AI. If you need help thinking, use AI. So you know what I think? Use AI. That's hilarious. I was looking at a video and they were talking about, I think his name was, I keep forgetting the guy's name. Was it Richard Branson or Branson? Richard Branson? I forgot the guy's name. But he basically started Virgin Records with no money. You know, the guy that has like the Virgin Records plane, he basically started with no money. And this Indian guy was breaking it down, and he was talking about how, you know, you don't need to. He was just talking about business, and he was like, you know, you don't need any money to start a business. That's what he was getting at. He was like, you know, he was like, what that showed me is that he started a multi-billion-dollar, you know, a $1 million business, you know, going into $1 billion business with no money at all. And the guy was saying that basically, he basically told him, showed that you don't need no money at all. You just need a mindset and like, you know, to be creative. And you can start any business you want. That law applies to just starting any business. So virtually, you can start any business to a certain degree for free. You just got to be thinking. And maybe know a couple of people that can pull some strings. You know what I'm saying? Because he was talking about how he called them and asked, you know, Boeing if they have any planes that they were using, just playing around and stuff like that. And he kept calling them and he was relentless about it. And the guy ended up, you know, giving him a shot or whatever. And he didn't have no money. He didn't use any money at all. You know, you got a couple of people that are millionaires that came up like that with no money at all. Don King, he didn't have no money. But he made a couple of promises and put something together. And guess what? Boom, there it is. Thriller in Manila. You know? King Pig says, War Master, why are you bringing up Democrats when Trump is ripping us off to our faces? What is Trump ripping us off about? Y'all got to be careful, man. Because you know what? I've seen people that said a lot of stuff about Trump. Now, all of a sudden, they're Trump fans, you know? I saw Tariq Nasheed going on Trump. And now he one of the biggest Trump fans. That's why I don't understand how Jason Black. Anyway, y'all be safe. It's Player Talk Radio. I am your gracious host, DJ Kuda. Thank you, everybody, for hitting the like button and supporting the show. We will be back in the next couple of hours. It's Player Talk Radio. I am your gracious host. Let's get it. Let's go.